For Senior Day ceremonies once again.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. We are coming to you from Promort Field at Burnlor Stadium, getting you set for another presentation of Capital Crusaders football here on athletics.capital.edu. I'm Charlie Danis. I'll be bringing you the action today from Bexley, Ohio, as we welcome you into the Freshie pregame show, getting you set for Senior Day here at Capital as the Crusaders get set to entertain the Fighting Muskies of Muskingum University. Well, unlike previous senior days, this one takes on pretty big significance for the Crusaders in that they are still looking for their first win of the 2019 season. This is their last opportunity. The Crusaders come into today's matchup 0-9 overall, 0-8 within OAC play, taking on a Muskingum team that is not that much better. 2-7 overall and 1-7 within OAC play. So something's got to give in this matchup of two teams that have struggled for much of 2019. Of course, the purple and white, they look to send their seniors out with a victory, and more importantly, they look to avoid going winless here in the 2019 season. First, a quick look back at last week's game for the Crusaders. They went on the road. They went to Wilmington to take on the Quakers, and at the start of this game, things looked very ugly for the Crusaders. They fell behind 21-0 after three straight scoring drives that resulted in touchdowns for the Quakers. It was 29-1 with 4:20 left to play in the first quarter. But Chad Rogaszewski's crew pulled it together. This was a very competitive game coming down to the last minute or so. Capital got to within 7. Thanks to a 48-yard touchdown reception by David Barnett. Unfortunately, Capital was not able to get the ball back from Wilmington in time to try to mount a drive to get that needed scoring or that needed tying touchdown. So your final ended up being Wilmington 41, Capital 34. Considering how big Capital was down in that game to begin that game, it's kind of a minor miracle that Capital was able to make it as competitive as they did. They fought valiantly. They fought until the final minute, but Capital once again coming up short as of right now they remain winless on the season. But they are hoping to change their luck here today against Muskingum, and if you can take positives away from that Wilmington game, which there were a lot of, probably the number one positive to take away from that loss to the Quakers was the improved passing game and how good both quarterbacks looked for Capital. The last couple of weeks, the Crusaders have been going with this quarterback duo of Mitchell Mayshock and Justin McClellan, and boy, those two really showed off in that game against Wilmington. Mayshock, 19 of 31 through the air, 204 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns and an interception. Justin McClellan, 13 of 22 through the air, 237 passing yards, and 2 passing touchdowns. And if you think the quarterbacks were pretty special, how about Mike Smith and David Barnett? Smith, 10 catches for 149 yards and a couple of receiving touchdowns. Barnett, meanwhile, probably his best game of the 2019 campaign, 7 catches, 116 yards, and a score. Smith averaged just under 15 yards per reception. Barnett, meanwhile, averaged 16.6 yards per reception. In just a moment, they will get things started here with the Senior Day festivities. 10 seniors expected to be honored today for Capital. They have been with head coach Chad Rogaszewski all 4 of his years here at Capital. As the parents of both the football team as well as the cheerleaders are making their way down to the field. Like I said, Capital is trying to send their seniors out with a win here today. More importantly, try to avoid going winless. They want to avoid going 0-10 overall and 0-9 within conference play. They have been playing better as of late. A competitive game a couple of weeks ago against Otterbein here at Burnlor Stadium before they finally fell to the Cardinals. And last week, boy, they could have easily thrown in the towel after being down by as much as 21 against Wilmington. But these Crusaders, they stuck with it. They fought, lost by a touchdown to Wilmington last week as their comeback big against the Quakers came up short. So hopefully they can come out here with a good effort here today. I guess a Muskingum team that probably should be better than 2-7 overall. They have had some very close games within OAC play, could very well easily be up near the 500 mark. And now let's send it down to the field as they get set to honor the senior class of 2019.
We begin with the Capital Cheer Team. Leading us off is Megan Hoover. Megan is a business management major and is also minoring in coaching and human resources. The Westerville native is a member of Delta Sigma Pi Business Fraternity and is joined by her parents, Tim and Julie, and sister Brooke. Megan Hoover. Next is Caitlin Kruger. Caitlin is a native of Huron and is majoring in biology pre-med and is a member of the Beta Biology Honor Society. She is joined today by her parents, Tina and Roland. Caitlin Kruger. Up next is the high-flying Rondale Page. Rondale is a communication major and PR minor from Reynoldsburg. Rondale is a member of Phi Kappa Psi fraternity and today is joined by her grandmother, Queen, and her mother, LaTanya. Rondale Page. Let's welcome now Caitlin Shaw, a business marketing major from Worthington. Kaylee is a member of Delta Sigma Pi and plans to work in the medical sales area. She is supported today by her parents, Cindy and Doug, and brother Mason. Kaylee Shaw. Our next senior is Emily Sigler, a biology and pre-med major from Lancaster. Emily will be attending medical school in fall 2021 and is joined today by her parents Troy and Cynthia and sisters Rebecca and Tish. Emily Singer. Our final cheer senior is Hannah Swoop, a marketing major from Logan. Hannah is a member of the Alpha Sigma Alpha and is today going by her parents Adam and Jenny and brothers Gavin and Isaac. Hannah Swope. Before we get to the players, we'd like to recognize Taylor Cragger. If you've seen the cool videos on our website or social media, Taylor is the mastermind behind them. Taylor is a community health and human science major and member of the Alpha Sigma Alpha. Joining her today are her parents, Kristen and Kelly. Taylor Cragger. And now your senior Crusader football players. Our first senior is a native of Normal, Illinois. Please welcome defensive back Avery Sylvester. Avery jumped into the lineup as a cornerback and recorded his first interception against Muskingum last year. He has 29 career tackles in 2 seasons and 17 games played, 2 picks, 1 forced fumble, and 1 recovery. Avery is an exercise science major and looks to become a strength and conditioning coach. He is joined by his mother, Kimberly, and brother, Austin. Ladies and gentlemen, number 1, Avery Sylvester. Next is a senior from Gallipolis. Give it up for linebacker number 3, Cole Carter. Cole came to the Cap family from Moorhead State to play baseball and football, but made his full-time home on the gridiron. He has played in every game during his 3 seasons and has totaled 171 tackles, 6.5 sacks, 6 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, and 3 interceptions. Last year, Cole was an honorable mention All-OAC selection after lodging 71 tackles, a pick, and 3 forced fumbles. Last year, Cole was named Academic All-OAC and is an education major with the hopes to go on and earn a master's in athletic administration. He is joined by his parents, Kelly and Larry. Family, let's hear it for number 3, Cole Carter. Our next senior is a Dayton native. Let's hear it for running back number 5, Evan Butler. Evan has been in the backfield since the beginning, averaging more than 60 carries a season for the Crusaders. Last year, he recorded his first 2 career touchdown game and has only fumbled twice in nearly 300 carries. He also has 69 career receptions and 2 touchdowns through the air. Evan is a financial economics major and hopes to stay in the Columbus to work as a financial analyst in the government sector. He is joined by his parents, Tyrone and Sonia, and his sister, Sydney. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for number 5, Evan Butler. Our next senior came to cap from Evanston, Illinois. Clap it up for wide receiver number 6, Ben Drake. Ben began his Capital athletic career playing baseball, but found his way to the football team. He brought an energy that supports his team no matter his week-to-week role. Ben is majoring in marketing and minoring in communications. He is supported today by his mother, Michelle Oxman, and his father, Bob Drake. Ladies and gentlemen, number 6, Ben Drake. Next is a native of Pittsburgh. Here comes defensive back number 7, Jake Elsad. Jake has bounced back nicely since a season-ending injury his freshman year. He has been a mainstay on defense in his 30 games, logging 119 total tackles, forcing 2 fumbles and recovering 1. Jake is also a 2-time academic All-OAC selection as an exercise science major while minoring in both coaching and psychology. Jake is looking forward to building a career in strength and conditioning area here in Columbus. Today, Jake is joined by his mother, Sylvia, brother Adam. Fans, let's hear it for number 7, Jake Elsad. Our next senior is one we will especially miss here at Capital. Here is senior number 12, Wyatt Pertusit. Wyatt has served as a wide receiver and a punter here at Capital over his 4 years. As a wideout, he's made 34 catches for 466 yards and 3 touchdowns, but none more significant than his first collegiate touchdown catch last year at Mount St. Joseph, which also made history as the first touchdown scored by an openly gay athlete at any collegiate level. As a punter, he has punted 106 times, averaging 33.3 yards per boot with a career long of 55 yards. He pinned the opponent inside the 20-yard line 17 times and induced 24 fair catches. Wyatt is a psychology major, member of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, and someone whose smile is everlasting. He's joined today by his mother, Stacy, father, Sean, stepmother, Kelly, sisters, Paige and Chelsea, and Grandpa Joe. One more time for Richwood native number 12, Wyatt Pertusit. Next in line is another history maker. Here is a native of Springfield, wide receiver number 15, David Barnett. David began his senior year as a nominee for the All-State Good Works team for his incredible resume of philanthropy, academics, and on-field play. He is a 3-time All-Conference selection, which includes 2 honorable mention nods and a second-team All-OAC selection in 2016. Earlier this year, David broke the Capital all-time receiving yards record and is now 161 yards away from achieving 3,000 yards in a career. His 202 receptions ranks 3rd all-time, and he's 10 away from becoming the CU record holder in that category, as well as his 27 touchdown catches ranked 2nd all-time at Capital. David is an education major, member of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, and he looks to teach and become a high school or middle school football coach. Today, David is joined by his parents, Claudia and David, his brothers and sisters, sister-in-law and girlfriend. Ladies and gentlemen, clap it up for David Barnett. Our next senior hails from Carroll City, Florida. We welcome running back number 20, Antoine Ship. Antoine has been known as a speedster. He has 65 carries and 300 yards to his name on the ground. He also made a living as a significant contributor on special teams as a primary return man. Last year, Antoine led the OAC in kick return and yards and was among the nation's leaders in those categories. Antoine is a business management major and notes he is working hard to get a look at trying out for a Canadian Football League or the XFL after graduation. He is joined today by his girlfriend, Deja Smith. Fans, let's hear it for number 20, Antoine Ship. Let's now welcome to the field senior defensive back number 24, Mike Clark. Mike has been a key reserve cornerback for Capital and has played in 20 games over his career. The Geneva native has made 15 tackles, 1 forced fumble. Mike is majoring in psychology and hopes to one day become a football coach. Today he's joined by his parents, Mike and Kim, and sister Abby. Let's hear it for the senior, number 24, Mike Clark. Next is Santa Ana, California native, number 29, Julian Mendoza. Julian has been a 4-year letter winner that has totaled 28 tackles as a linebacker for Cap. Julian has noted his favorite memory is one we are living in right here, right now. And thanks for everyone for being a part of it. Julian is an education major and looks to travel the world after he graduates. Julian is joined today by his oldest brother, Edwin. Cap fans, let's give a cheer for linebacker number 29, Julian Mendoza. And our last senior is an offensive lineman from Zanesville. Let's hear for number 90, Parker Moore. Parker has been there for his team for all 4 years and whatever the team may need of him. All the while, Parker is a double major in psychology and criminology. His favorite memory, beating Otterbein at their place in 2016. Parker looks to break the criminology field after graduating. Today, Parker is supported by his parents, Sherry and Joe, brother Jess and sister Allie, and niece 80. Ladies and gentlemen, Parker Moore. Fans, can we give all our seniors from the Capital football and cheer team one last round of applause for all the work, dedication, and wish them luck as they complete their careers academically and athletically at Capital.
Well, once again, congratulations to all the seniors. 10 seniors in all for the football team for Capital as they will play their final home game here at Promort Field at Bernlor Stadium.
Ladies and gentlemen, under the direction of Mr. Jonah Pertig, Assistant Director Miss Amy Palacey, and Miss Tina Michnich. Guard instructors, Miss.
Let's now go ahead and take a look around the OAC. Final week of the regular season in the Ohio Athletic Conference, and as we often do in this particular segment, first we take a look at the reigning OAC offensive, defensive, and special teams players of the week. We begin with the starting quarterback of the Ohio Northern Polar Bears, Anthony McFadden, senior quarterback out of Chillicothe, Ohio. He helped guide the Polar Bears to a 35-28 victory over Baldwin Wallace last week. McFadden completing 12 of 17 passes for 155 yards with 3 touchdowns. He also rushed 16 times for 52 yards and had a score on the ground. Now we go to the defensive player of the week, that being Kyle Gallagher, junior defensive lineman from Chesterland, Ohio. Gallagher recorded 8 tackles. That included 3 solo stops, 2 tackles for loss, which happened to be both sacks. And the Pioneers' 21-10 win over Otterbein. Gallagher also forced a fumble and had 1 quarterback hurry. And finally, James Knox of Marietta. He is a senior defensive back for the Pioneers who hails from Charleston, West Virginia. He returned a blocked field goal, 84 yards for a touchdown in Marietta's 21-10 win over Otterbein last week. Marietta was leading 7-3 in the third quarter when Knox's scoop and score resulted in a 10-point swing and gave the Pioneers a 14-3 lead. Knox also had an interception on Marietta's 10-yard line to seal the win in the fourth quarter as the Pioneers were able to pick up another win here in 2019. Quick check of who is playing who in the final week of the regular season. Marietta will play host to Mount Union beginning at 1:30. Heidelberg will be at Ohio Northern. Baldwin Wallace plays host to John Carroll. And Otterbein will play host to Wilmington. Let's now send it back down to the field as they get set to play our national anthem.
Cadet Olivia Fisher and Cadet Jake Boyd. Under the direction of Jonah Herdick, today's national anthem will be performed by members of the Groveport High School Marching Band. We invite you to rise and remove your caps for the playing of the Star-Spangled Banner.
All right, let's now go ahead and preview Capital today. This is brought to you by Plains Cafe and Pizzeria. Well, we made mention of this early on in the pregame show about how the passing game for Capital looked really good, particularly last week against Wilmington. It seems as though the Capital has found something with this quarterback duo, Mitchell Mayshock and Justin McClellan. You never know who is going to go back to pass or lead the offense out onto the field, but they've been splitting time at quarterback for Capital. McClellan and Mayshock have, and they were very successful against Wilmington. McClellan throwing for 237 yards, Mayshock 204. Mayshock finding the end zone 3 times, McClellan finding the end zone 2 times. So hopefully that same type of success can follow the Crusaders into this one as they try to send their seniors out with a victory and try to avoid going winless. 0-10 overall, 0-9 in conference play. They're hoping to get past that and hopefully avoid that here today in the final game of the 2019 season. Later on, we will preview Muskingum, but we'll take a short break in the meantime. When we come back, you will hear my conversation with Capital head coach Chad Rogaszewski. This is your home for Crusaders football, the Capital Sports Network. Welcome back to the pregame show. It is senior day here at Bernlohr Stadium as the Capital Crusaders get set to take on the Muskingum Muskies. I'm Charlie Danis. Joining me now. It is senior day here at Bernlohr Stadium as the Capital Crusaders get set to take on the Muskingum Muskies. I'm Charlie Danis. Joining me now, the head coach of the Capital football program, Chad Rogaszewski. Well, Coach, let's go back to last week, 41-34 loss to Wilmington. Justin McClellan and Mitchell Mayshock, 441 combined passing yards, 5 passing touchdowns. How good do those guys look as you watch them from the sideline?
They're getting better, which is what we needed, and decided a few weeks ago that we would try to kind of build a package around each one's skill set that are things that they're confident in and things that they can do. And I think the little bit of success that they've had and has given them more confidence, and hopefully that continues into today's game.
And it also helps that they had 2 wide receivers that did their part, Barnett and Mike Smith, 17 catches, 265 receiving yards, and 3 touchdowns. How do those guys look to you?
They're both playing well, which is good. And, the part of their stories are always unique, but we've had Mike all off season, working through knee surgery, and mid-season David was injured with a knee injury. So you got two receivers out there in knee braces that are actually performing pretty well. They're probably both about as healthy as they've been since midseason. So that's good to see, and it's good to see them performing well.
We're talking with Capital head football coach Chad Rogoszewski here on the Crusaders pregame show. Coach, let's be honest, it's been a tough season, but I've watched this team this year. They keep on fighting. They keep on playing. Talk to me about the middle of this group and their ability to push forward despite these tough circumstances in 2019.
Yeah, they've been a great group to coach because they do continue to work hard. They continue to bring great energy to the things that we do. Our challenge has been game day, and I think you look at that, and there's a lot of guys out there that didn't have a lot of previous game day experience that we're counting on, and what we've got to be able to do is now take that as an advantage. Young guys on the field, freshmen on the field, and experienced guys on the field, and say, hey, now you are experienced, and now we can build from there. So it has been a good group to work with, and they've continued to stay energetic, focused, and work hard.
Speaking of building, you've had to play a lot of young guys on the defensive side of the ball as we approach here the ending of the 2019 season. What are some defensive players that kind of came out of the woodwork this year that you've been really impressed with this year?
Well, one of our defensive ends, Des Turkson, is really performed well. Caleb Dave was playing well early. He's injured now, so he didn't quite make it to the end of the season. But a couple of those young D linemen really at a position we thought we were going to have some depth, but some older guys experienced some injuries that hurt a little bit on the defensive line for us. So we've had to move those younger guys up the depth chart, and those two have done well. And then Nick Fasonic at our will linebacker position, who's started all year at that position but has gotten better each week and really had an outstanding game last week. I think graded out in the 90 percentile, had a big interception at the end of the game to give us a chance to win. And so that's been encouraging to see. And like I said, those are guys that got experience early that now need to play like experienced players for us.
Let's talk about your opponent today. Muskingum 2-7 overall, 1-7 in OAC play. What stands out about the Muskies when you watch them on film? They're
a tough physical group. They're an improved team, and it's odd to say because I think their record might have been slightly better a year ago at this time. I think they're in the second season with their new coaching staff, and you see them continually get to the point that you can tell that they want to be at. And I think they just had a few not go their way. And I know that's the OAC. Here you're in those games, those one-score games, and some days, some years they go your way, some days they don't. And but you can see just the overall level of play and them getting to what they want to be, a tough physical run team on offense and a really solid defense with good physical play up front and good talent and skill in the back end. So they're a good solid team.
Talking with Capital head coach Chad Rogoszewski here on the Crusaders pregame show. Their quarterback Brady Hahn, he's had an up and down year. There have been some games where he's looked really good. There have been other games where he struggled. What stands out about him?
We've seen him transform since a freshman. He was getting on the field for them, as a freshman, and all of a sudden, you see him develop physically. You see his passing game develop. He's always been a effective runner for them. And I think he's probably had some inconsistencies throughout the year, but the talent and the ability is clearly there. So he's a guy we're going to have to keep in check today defensively because a lot of what they do in the run game and his ability to hit open receivers and be effective in the pass game is definitely there.
Speaking of talented players, their defensive end Tim Ousley, 8.5 sacks this year. That's tied for second best in the OAC. What makes him so dangerous coming off the edge?
Just his tenacity and his physical play, and he gave us issues a year ago. He's shown up on film a ton this year. It's his senior year. It's his probably last game as a senior on their defensive line. So you were going to get everything he's got today, and we've got to be ready for that because he's a good, tough, physical player.
Finally, Coach, senior day. You got 10 seniors that you're going to be honoring before today's game, and hopefully you'll be able to send them out with a victory today. Talk to me about the senior class.
Yeah, that's obviously an interesting group, a group that I said at the beginning of the season, would definitely be our strength. They've been with our staff for 4 years and understand how we want to do things. The downside was that there are only 10 of them. It was the transition year recruiting class that was, when our staff came in March and April, the one that was, sort of in place that we tried to hold together when our staff got here. But they have bought in and embraced the things that we've tried to do here, building the program at Capital. I wish it was 20 or 30 in it, but it is 10. But they have done an excellent job, and in the college game, obviously, it's just not a end of a season, but it's often an end of a career for guys, and and I'm sure that'll be emotional for them. But we just want to do, and we've talked about this week, doing everything we can to send them off the right way.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you so much. Good luck against Muskingum.
Great. Thanks, Charlie.
Well, there you have it. Head coach Chad Rogaszewski trying to send his seniors out as winners today against Muskingum and trying to get a win to end what has been a very frustrating 2019 campaign. Let's see if Capital can go out there and get it done. Hello again, everyone. I'm Charlie Danis. Welcome to this presentation of Crusaders football at athletics.capital.edu. So glad that we could have you along for the ride, the final day of the 2019 regular season, the final game that Capital will play here in the year 2019. Capital nearly pulled off a comeback for the ages against Wilmington next week, but now they turn their attention to a Muskingum team that has had perhaps an equally tough 2019. The Muskies coming in here with an overall record of 2-7 and a record of 1-7 within OAC play. Muskingum's only wins beat Waynesburg 31-20 in their season opener, and they beat Wilmington back in late September 38-21. Muskingum will receive the ball to begin today's game. Middleton kicks it away for Capital. We're underway here at Bernlohr Stadium. Ball taken at the 3, the 10, the 15, the 20, and then tripped up around the 24-yard line that time.
Number 84,
Tyler Panicki tripped up on the play, and now Muskingum's offense will come out onto the field. They are led by their quarterback, Brady Hahn, who hails from Louisville, Ohio. Hahn, a 6'2", 215-pound junior. He and the rest of the Muskingum offense will start 1st and 10 at their own 26-yard line as we are just underway here in Bexley. Beautiful day here in Central Ohio. This will be a run to about the 30-yard line, as that was Jeffrey Curtis, the freshman out of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, with the carry. The rest of the Muskingum offense looks like this. The fullback is Kirkland Davis. The tight end is Jacob Quinn. Starting wide receivers, Patrick Enos, Jalen Goodman, and Darius Hayes-Caruth. Left tackle, TJ Boyd. Left guard, Wyatt Creeder. The center, Iggy Horvath. The right guard, Josiah Leisure. And the right tackle, Nate Flannery. Now a 2nd down. A throw, and it is incomplete. The intended target on the play. Lenicki was the one who was the intended target on that play for Muskingum. So now that'll bring up 3rd down. 3rd and about 5 from the Muskingum 30-yard line. Hahn is in the shotgun. He's got 2 receivers to his right and 1 to his left. And Curtis remains his tailback, although now Curtis will be split out wide to the left. Hahn now back to pass. Looking, scrambling around, still looking for some room. He's got room, and he'll pick up a 1st down as he will duck out of bounds around midfield. Everybody was covered down the field, so Hahn decided to take it himself. Play broke down defensively right there for Capital as they were not able to get their hands on Hahn until he got to the far sideline. Big 1st down there for Muskingum. Hahn is one of those players that has had an up and down year for this Muskingum team. He's had games where he's thrown for well over 300 yards and 3 passing touchdowns, and then he's had games where he's tossed a couple interceptions. Looked good on that last run. 1st and 10 now for Muskingum at midfield. Hahn back to throw. Looking downfield. still looking, scrambling to his left, avoiding some pressure, throws complete to the Capital 35, to the 30, to the 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Muskingum. Hahn was able to avoid pressure, find Darius Hayes Caruth, the senior wideout out of Cincinnati. And Caruth, somehow, someway, was able to avoid a few tacklers. He broke 3, and he goes into the end zone for the first score of the game, an early 6-0 lead for Muskingum with the extra point pending. On for the point after is Gavin Costello, a sophomore from Silver Lake, Ohio. Costello, a right-footed kicker. Snap back, hold down, kick is on the way, it is up, and it is good. Quick timeout for us, 13:24 remaining here in the first quarter. It's Muskingum 7, Capital nothing. This is your home for Crusaders football, athletics.capital.edu. Well, a quick start for Muskingum. Early 7-0 lead for the Muskies with 13:24 remaining in the first quarter, thanks to a 51-yard touchdown reception by wide receiver Darius Hayes Caruth. Brady Hahn doing a nice job of evading pressure early on in this game for Muskingum, as he was able to lead the Muskies to an opening score. And now the Crusaders getting set to receive this kickoff. They will get a chance. Taken at the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, out to the 37-yard line. That was a very nice return that time by Jake Harris, sophomore wide receiver out of Mason, Ohio. Well, we talked about it in the pregame show about how Capital's been going with this dual quarterback system. And it'll be Mitchell Mayshock who will start off at quarterback today, splitting time lately with Justin McClellan. Both those young men throwing for over 200 yards last week in that 41-34 loss at Wilmington. So Mayshock will start 1st and 10 at the Capital 38-yard line. A receiver to each side of the field in a very loaded backfield as Irvin will go in motion. The tailback, Mayshock, looking to go deep. Barnett, the intended target, but overshot him quite a bit, as that pass will go incomplete. Brian Brown in on the coverage for Muskingum.
Number 6, Brian Brown on the defense. 2nd and 10 on the 38.
Mayshock staying in there, quarterback on this upcoming 2nd and 10 from the Capital 38-yard line. Early 7-0 lead for Muskingum with 13:11 left to play in our first quarter. Sun shining brightly. A very chilly, cold afternoon here in Bexley, but otherwise beautiful weather here in the middle of November in Central Ohio. Mayshock back to pass, rolling, and he is sacked. Back towards the 25-yard line. Bringing him down on the play was Drew Lowry, junior defensive lineman from Toronto. Not a good start for Capital offensively here as they will get set to face a 3rd and long situation. The rest of the offensive starters for Capital looks like this. Left tackle is Nick Scott. The left guard is Nick Russell. Center is Bryce Siegfried. The right guard is Kevin Cuervo. And the right tackle is Brady Kuhn. The wide receivers, Mike Smith and David Barnett. The running back, Evan Butler. The H-back, Dylan Schoonover. So after the sack, it's now 3rd and 19 for Capital from their own 29-yard line. And Mayshock getting set to receive the snap, but a flag. And I kind of have a feeling this might be a false start.
Snap infraction. Offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty, replay, 3rd down.
Our head referee, Brian K. Smith, on the call right there. Bryce Siegfried, the center, with the snap infraction that time, and this will back Capital up further. It's now 3rd and 24 from the Cap 24-yard line. Barnett put in motion in this 4 wide receiver set. Mayshock loses the ball. And it looks like Muskingum is able to recover the fumble. So a strip sack right there. Coming up with the ball, Trocon Kanea, a senior linebacker out of Cleveland, Ohio. And boy, you can't think of a worse start for Capital here as they allow a touchdown on the opening drive offensively for Muskingum. And then on their first offensive drive, they turn it over on a 3rd and long situation. So now it's 1st and 10 for Muskingum from the Capital 27-yard line, and a golden opportunity right here for the Muskies to jump out to a big lead here early on. Hahn in the pistol, a receiver to each side of the field. And the tailback is Jeffrey Curtis. Curtis with a little flip, a little razzle-dazzle. Kuhn catches it. 15, 10, 5, dives in, waiting for a signal, touchdown. Very pretty play right there. Some magic in the backfield as they were able to find Kuhn on the trick play, wide open on the far side that time. And just like that, a 13-0 lead for Muskingum with 12:07 left to play here in the first quarter. Once again, on for the point after is Gavin Costello. And boy, oh boy, Muskingum has come out firing here offensively. Snap back, hold down, kick is up, and it is good. Another timeout for us, 12:07 remaining in the first quarter. It's Muskingum 14, Capital nothing. This is Crusaders football on athletics.capital.edu. Welcome back to Bernlohr Stadium. A hot start for the Muskingum Muskies as they lead Capital 14-0 with 12:07 left to play in the first quarter. The latest score, well, it had a little razzle-dazzle to it. Cameron Neer with a pass complete to the quarterback, Brady Hahn, that went for 27 yards and a score. That is what has allowed Muskingum to jump out to a 14-0 lead with 12:07 left to play here in the first quarter. Another kickoff for Muskingum. And another return here for Harris to the 20, 25, 30, 35, out to about the 38-yard line. And now a little scuffle between a Capital player and a Muskingum player, but things quickly broken up. And now we will get back to business here as the Capital offense will come back onto the field. The score, latest score for Muskingum, set up by a strip sack fumble recovered by the Muskingum defense. Trocon Kanea with the fumble recovery. When Mitchell Mayshock went back to pass on that last offensive play for Capital. So now Justin McClellan comes in at quarterback. McClellan will set up in the shotgun. Two receivers to the far side, one to the near side, and Barnett. Irvin, the tailback, put in motion. A fake to Schoonover, and McClellan will run forward across the 40, and he'll be tackled at the 44-yard line. Making the tackle on the play was the man who recovered that key fumble, Trocon Kanea, the senior from Cleveland, Ohio. Defensive starters for Muskingum look like this. The defensive ends are Drew Lowry and Tim Oosley. Giannis Daly and Chris Shakespeare are the defensive tackles. The linebackers, Nehemiah Bowie, Caleb Gators, and Trocon Kanea. Willie Smith and Cortez McGinnis are the cornerbacks, and Brian Brown and Tristan Howe are your safeties. McClellan fakes it to Irvin, and he will dive. He will only get to about the 45-yard line, so that will only be a gain of 1 on the play as he was tripped up by Chris Shakespeare, the junior defensive lineman from Cleveland, went to Cleveland Central Catholic back during his prep days. And now a 3rd and 4 situation for Capital. Capital's been punched in the mouth here early on in this game, looking to get off the canvas here and try to mount an offensive drive. As it gets set here for a key 3rd down situation, McClellan under center. Barnett split out wide to the right. A man put in motion. The give is to Irvin, and Irvin fighting forward, but he'll be a couple yards short, only able to get to the 47, had to get to the 49-yard line in order to convert. And now it looks like the punt team will come out onto the field for Capital. Bringing him down on the play was Tim Ousley, senior defensive lineman out of MacArthur, Ohio. Ousley's had a fantastic year for Muskingum to this point. 8.5 sacks, tied for second best in the OAC. And now an injured player for Capital. Sitting on the turf now is Dylan Schoonover, junior running back out of Grove City, Ohio. Dylan Schoonover, player on the football team. His sister also a cheerleader for Capital. They love being here at Capital, and every time you walk through the tailgate area located in the nearby parking lot, you can see their family. They have a tremendous spread always set up for every game day here in Bexley. And luckily for Dylan, he is able to get off the map right there, and he'll head to the sideline, walking under his own power. So now Wyatt Pertussit will get set to punt this football away for Capital. And on to return this punt is Darius Hayes Caruth. Already has a touchdown in this game of the receiving variety. Pertussit takes the snap. He'll get the ball away. End over end to the 16. Hayes Caruth to the 20, and he'll be brought down around the 20-yard line. Nice special teams tackle that time by number 43, Michael Macbeth, backup linebacker, freshman out of Upper Arlington, Ohio, former Golden Bear. So Muskingum will come back out offensively, and boy, I want to talk about a great start for them offensively. A 51 touchdown reception by Darius Hayes Caruth, and then a touchdown reception by their quarterback, Brady Hahn, as the Muskies broke out the razzle-dazzle on their last offensive possession. This time the Muskies will start 1st and 10 at their own 20, and the give will be to the tailback, Jeffrey Curtis. Curtis will push forward to about the Capital 24-yard line, so give him a gain of 4 on the play, as the tackle is made by Jack Blaisdell, sophomore defensive lineman out of West Unity, Ohio. Let's go ahead and give you the starters defensively for Capital today. The defensive ends are Des Turkson and Rex Chadia. Defensive tackles Damian Loya and Jack Blaisdell. The linebackers Nick Vasonic, Blake McCulley, and Cole Carter. Cornerbacks Avery Sylvester, Quincy Edwards. Free safety Dakota Kirkbride, and the strong safety Jake El Sayed. 2nd and 6. Hahn back to throw. He will scramble, he will throw, and it is incomplete. The intended target that time was Darius Hayes Caruth, but too much pressure by that Capital front, leading to the incomplete pass as Avery Sylvester was in on the coverage for Capital defensively. And now it is 3rd down and 6 for the Crusaders, or for the Muskies, excuse me, from their own 24-yard line. 9:09 remaining here in the first quarter. Muskingum 14, Capital nothing. Hahn will set up in the pistol. He's got 2 receivers to his right and 1 to the near side, that being Mr. Darius Hayes Caruth. Tailback continues to be Curtis. Hahn back to throw, scrambling to his right, running for his life. And Hahn will slide. He will spot the ball at around the 24-yard line or so. The pressure was just too much that time, as chasing him down on the play was Nick Vasonic, freshman out of Upper Arlington. Boy, I'll tell you what, Vasonic has had a very good year in his first year playing linebacker at Capital. Chad Rogaszewski, Capital's head coach, very effusive in his praise for Vasonic, the job that he's done in his first year here in Bexley. On to punt now is Jarrett Patton, junior out of Washington Courthouse, Ohio. Back to receive the punt is Mike Smith. Smith will take it, and he will not catch it at the midfield. Confusion as Muskingum pounces on the ball. Looked initially like a muff punt. Smith is saying that he got interfered with, and now another flag has been thrown out towards midfield. So, boy, a lot to unpackage here on a key call near midfield. Again, our head referee is Brian K. Smith, as he will confer with the rest of his officiating crew. Smith thought that he was interfered with. Capital's offense coming out onto the field. So I would imagine that the ball will be Capital's offensively here. A whole lot of laundry on the field, a lot of penalties to sort out, I would imagine. As Brian Smith continues to confer with his refereeing crew. 14-0 Muskingum, 8:12 remaining here in the first quarter. Still some more talking between Smith and our officiating crew. Finally, the call.
During the kick catch interference, kicking team number 28. After the kick, sideline warning, Muskingum. The ball be placed 35-yard line, first down.
Stefano Napolitano, freshman defensive back out of Loxahatchee, Florida, part of the offending party. And so with that penalty, that gives Capital beautiful field position here. They will begin this drive at the Muskingum 35, 1st and 10 for the Crusaders. 2 receivers to each side of the field. Mayshock taking the snap. But now a timeout looks like it's going to be taken by Muskingum.
Muskingum, their first charge timeout of the first half.
So Muskingum will take a timeout. In the meantime, let's go ahead and get you updated with some scores around the OAC. Mount Union out to a 7-0 lead over Marietta with 12:23 left to go in the first quarter. Ohio Northern has jumped out to a 7-0 lead over Heidelberg, 9:51 to go in the first quarter of that game. Baldwin Wallace leading John Carroll 7-0 with 3:56 remaining in the first half of that game. And finally, Otterbein and Wilmington tied at 7 as they are in the middle of the first quarter of that game. Looks as though that Mount Union will take home another OAC title as they get set for another deep run into the Division III football playoffs. John Carroll also having another strong season. Their only loss of the year coming to Mount Union. Back to our game, 1st and 10. Capital at the Muskingum 35-yard line. Mayshock back in the game, but flags are thrown all over the place. Looks as though that this might be another false start penalty. Let's check the penalty.
False start, offense, number 17, 5-yard penalty, replay, first down.
Penalty will go against Cam Lee, sophomore tight end out of Piqua, Ohio. So that'll back things up 5 yards. Capital now at the Muskingum 40-yard line. 8:10 remaining in the first quarter. It's Muskingum 14, Capital nothing. And now McClellan back in the game for Capital. That quarterback, it's a play fake. He will run left side, and he'll take it across the 40 up to the 38-yard line. So that'll only be a gain of 2 on the play for McClellan. Every time Mayshock comes in, pretty much a pass play, but with McClellan, not only can he throw, but there's also that threat of him using his legs to pick up big yardage on the ground. Something to keep an eye on during this game. 2nd and 13 for Capital at the Muskingum 38-yard line. Mayshock in the gun, back to throw. Mitchell trying to go deep. Caught by Smith at the 15-yard line. A spectacular catch by Mike Smith, who had a couple of receiving touchdowns. Had a great game against Wilmington last week. Looking to continue to do the same this afternoon against Muskingum. Capital with quick tempo. Mayshock quick to throw, looking, and it is caught. Flags thrown all over the place now as Barnett makes the catch inside the 10 to the 9-yard line. Making the tackle on the play was Brian Brown, junior defensive back out of Columbia, South Carolina. As we will have more laundry to sort out here. Flags were thrown near the 5-yard line as Brian K. Smith once again confers with his officiating crew. And the call.
Pass interference. Offense, number 33, 15 yards from the previous spot. Replay, first down.
So Mike Smith gets flagged for offensive pass interference. Boy, oh boy, the penalties so far today for Capital. Got to be really frustrating for head coach Chad Rogaszewski and his staff to watch. That's already the third penalty today on Capital, and we still have a little over 7 minutes to play here in the first quarter. First and 25 for Capital from the Muskingum 30-yard line. Mayshak in the shotgun. 3 wide outs to the near side, 1 to the far side, and Mike Smith Jr. A man now put in motion. Mayshak back to throw. Trying to set up a screen pass, complete to Irvin. As Irvin will take it to the 24-yard line, so a gain of 6 on the play. That could have gone for a lot more yardage. If it hadn't been for Drew Lowry, who came from his defensive end spot and tripped Irvin up just in time. Irvin had 7 catches for around 70 yards last week against Wilmington. So he's always a threat to make something happen coming out of that backfield from a receiving standpoint. 2nd and 19 now for Capital from the Muskingum 24. Mayshak once again will go back to throw. He'll heave one towards the end zone. It is caught! Touchdown, Capital! Mike Smith Jr. basically went up in the air and said, "This ball is mine, I'm gonna grab it." The first point scored for Capital today. And they have a chance to cut the lead for Muskingum to 7. Man, Mike Smith Jr. going back to his high school football days at Upper Arlington, got to cover him a little bit with the Golden Bears, and you kind of knew that this guy was a very special talent. Came over from Ohio Dominican. Originally was a defensive player, but they switched him back to offense. And it's worked out really well for Capital as Middleton's kick is through the uprights and good. Let's take another break. Muskingum 14, Capital 7 with 6:16 remaining here in the first quarter. This is Crusaders football at athletics.capital.edu. Back here at Butler Stadium, 6:16 remaining in the first quarter. It's Muskingum 14, Capital 7. The Crusaders getting on the board moments ago thanks to a touchdown reception by Mike Smith Jr. Just went up and grabbed it, plucked it out of the air, and now the Muskingum lead has shrunk to 7 points as Blake Middleton gets set to kick this one away for Capital. Back to receive the kick, Jovan Roberts, Cameron Neer as well. Middleton will kick it away. 10, 15, 20, out to the 25-yard line. As there's a scrum near the 30, actually. Tyler Hinecki with the return. Decent field position for Muskingum, who leads Capital 14-7 with 6:05 remaining in the first quarter. Well, once again, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this presentation of Crusaders football here on athletics.capital.edu. I'm Charlie Danis. Senior day here for Capital. Trying to send the seniors out winners here in their final home game at Butler Stadium. Crusaders have got some work to do as they trail Muskingum by 7. Brady Hahn, 1st and 10 at the Muskingum 29-yard line. Hahn will take it across the 30 to the 40, to the 45, and he will duck out of bounds near midfield. Boy, Brady Hahn has looked really good from a running standpoint this year. Chad Rogaszewski talked in our pregame show about how Hahn has really made a lot of progress since his freshman year at Muskingum. Seems to be a lot more confident in his reads, both running with the football and throwing it through the air. And so far, Hahn has gotten off to a nice start offensively here today. 1st and 10 for Muskingum at their own 48. And a lot of confusion here as it looks like this will be a false start penalty against Muskingum. The call.
Full start, offense, number 4. 5-yard penalty, replay, first down.
Darius Hayes Caruth, who got a touchdown earlier in this game, was the one who was flagged for the false start. So now it's 1st and 15 for Muskingum from their own 43-yard line. 3 wideouts for Muskingum, 2 to the far side, 1 to the near side. Hahn is in the shotgun. Jeffrey Curtis, the tailback. Hahn back to throw, evades pressure to midfield now, 45, and he'll go out of bounds around the 41-yard line. Boy, Capital coming with good pressure today, but the problem has been containing Hahn once he gets outside of the pocket. Hahn has been able to pick up big chunks of yardage on the ground once he escapes the pocket, and that time he delivers Muskingum a fresh set of downs as once again Muskingum finds themselves in Capital territory. 1st and 10 for Muskingum from the Cap 41-yard line. Hahn once again in the pistol formation with a receiver to each side of the field, and it'll be a run up the middle. As going up to the 39-yard line will be Jeffrey Curtis. Curtis eventually tackled on the play by senior linebacker Cole Carter. So a gain of 1 on the play. That'll bring up a 2nd and 9 for Muskingum. As we tick under 4:20 to play here in the first quarter, Muskingum 14, Capital 7. Hahn in the pistol. 3 wideouts to the near side. Curtis, the tailback. Hahn throwing. Curtis was the intended target, but it's incomplete. Not enough oomph behind that pass that time as Jake El-Sayed was lurking defensively for Capital. And now it's a 3rd and 8 situation for Muskingum. Ball still spotted at the Capital 39-yard line with 4:02 remaining in the first quarter. It's Muskingum 14, Capital 7 as the sun continues to shine brightly here in Bexley. Muskingum now breaks the offensive huddle. Hahn in the shotgun. 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side, and Jeffrey Curtis' tailback is on Hahn's right hip. Hahn back to throw. Looking downfield. Goes for his tailback out of the backfield, which happens to be Cameron Neer, near the 5'10 junior from Sedalia, Ohio. Able to get enough yardage for the first down as Muskingum is able to once again move the chains. Tell you what, Muskingum has come in here with a really good offensive game plan. If Hahn doesn't see anybody with his first or second read, he has the ability to take off running. Otherwise, very quick throws coming out of that Muskingum pocket. Hahn, once again, will go back to throw. A little swing pass to Curtis. Inside the 20, inside the 15. Although they'll say he will step out of bounds at the 19-yard line. Another first down for Muskingum as the Muskies once again moves the chains. Curtis has done a nice job. Cameron Neer has done a nice job at that tailback position. Meanwhile, Capital's got to find some answers here offensively. So far, Muskingum has been met with relatively little resistance defensively from the Crusaders. So now it's 1st and 10 for Muskingum from the Cap 19-yard line. Brady Hahn at quarterback. Give us to Curtis. Curtis will try to run up the middle, across the 20 to about the 17-yard line. So that'll be a gain of only 2 on the play for Curtis. Jeffrey Curtis, a freshman from Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia. Muskies say that they are very high on this young man as to what he can do in the not-too-distant future. Only a freshman, 6 foot, 215 pounds. You have to figure that at some point this young man is going to continue to add muscle to that big frame of his, and perhaps he could be one of the top running backs in the OAC for years to come. Hahn in the shotgun once again. Receiver to each side of the field. He'll roll to his right. Hahn is going to be stuffed back at the 20-yard line. Hahn had literally nowhere to go that time as he was brought down on the play by Jake Blaisdell, sophomore defensive lineman out of West Unity, Ohio. And that'll officially go down as a sack as well since it was behind the line of scrimmage. Good job by Blaisdell being able to chase down Hahn and bring him down on the play. So now it's 3rd and 11 for Muskingum from the Capital 20-yard line. Hahn will set up in the pistol. 2 receivers. to the near side, one to the far side. Hahn takes the snap, surveys the field, rolling to his right, pointing, throwing, and it is incomplete. No Syed there defensively as he was locking with Lenecki defensively. And now the field goal unit will come onto the field here for Muskingum. Muskies looking to add to their 14-7 lead here. 1 minute and a half remaining here in the first quarter. A 37-yard field goal upcoming here for Muskingum. Gavin Costello, right-footed kicker, trying to extend this Muskingum lead. Snap back, goal down, kick is on the way. It is up, and it is good. Costello nails it from 37 yards. It's now a 17-7 lead for Muskingum with 1:25 remaining here in the first quarter. Another timeout. We will be back in just a moment. Back here in Bexley, where Muskingum leads Capital 17-7 with 1:25 remaining in the first quarter. Another score update around the OAC for you. Mount Union leading Marietta 14-7 with 5:39 left to play in the first quarter. Ohio Northern leading Heidelberg 14-13 with 1:48 remaining in the first quarter of that one. Early second quarter at Baldwin-Wallace, Yellow Jackets still leading John Carroll 7-0 in that game. And finally, Otterbein and Wilmington locking horns over in Westerville. The Cardinals and the Quakers knotted at 7 as they near the end of the first quarter of their game. Just moments ago, a 37-yard field goal by Gavin Costello. Short kickoff now as Capital will have great field position. Taken by the up man, Jaden Gentino, the junior out of Zanesville, Ohio. And Gentino with a solid return right there. Capital will have the ball, looks like at their own 42-yard line. As Capital attempts to get back into this game. Well, this was a Capital team that fell behind by as much as 21-0 last week against Wilmington. They were down 14-0 early on here against Muskingum. Looks as though the Capital might be settling in here a little bit, as now it'll be a carry across the 40 to the 45, perhaps the 46-yard line, as Jaden Gentino gets the carry. Gentino, a 5'7", 180-pound junior, like I said, out of Zanesville, Ohio, went to West Muskingum High School. So he probably has some familiarity with Muskingum University, seeing that his hometown is very close to their campus. As we tick under a minute remaining here in the first quarter. 2nd and 6, Capital at their own 46-yard line. Mayshok back in at quarterback. Throw to Philip Irvin, complete, 45, midfield. Out to the 44-yard line of Muskingum. Nice reception that time by Philip Irvin. By Evan Butler, excuse me.
The play is a first down for the Crusaders. 1st and 10 on the 44.
So a 1st down and 10 for Capital at the Muskingum 44-yard line. 25 seconds and counting here in the first quarter, so Capital can at least get one more playoff here before the end of the quarter. The give is to Butler. 45, 40, inside the 40 to the 39-yard line. So a solid run right there by Butler. And that will be your final play of our first quarter. Fast start for Muskingum. Capital gets on the board. Still got a game to play here in Bexley, Ohio. At the end of one, it's Muskingum 17, Capital 7. This is your home for Crusaders football. Athletics.capital.edu. Let us begin second quarter action here at Burnlor Stadium. Muskingum leading Capital 17-7 as we begin action in the second quarter. Mitchell Mayshock in at quarterback. 3 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. Evan Butler, the tailback. Play fake. Mayshock going deep, and it's picked off at the 15-yard line. To the 20, to the 25, to the 30 as a flag has been thrown. To the 35, 40, 45, out to midfield. Brian Brown, junior defensive back out of Columbia, South Carolina, making the play defensively for Muskingum. But now we have penalty flags all over the place. So a lot to sort out here after a turnover for Capital, and boy, turnovers have been a problem for Capital here in 2019. As Mayshock trying to make a play downfield, turns it over on the interception. Here's the call from our head referee, Brian K. Smith.
There are 2 fouls on the play after the interception. Therefore, it will be Muskingum ball. Illegal block in the back. Return team, number 11. That foul is declined. Personal foul, illegal blindside block. Return team, number 30. That foul will be assessed half the distance to the goal. First down, Muskingum.
So Drew Lowry is the one who initiated the illegal blindside block that time. So that'll back things up for Muskingum. But unfortunately for Capital, as it looked as though that they were mounting a good offensive drive, they turn the ball over and they give it right back to Muskingum. And boy, if you are Capital going forward in this game, got to do a better job of taking care of the ball. Now, you got to do a better job of keeping Brady Hahn in the pocket. Every time Capital has allowed him to escape the pocket today, he's made plays with his legs. Hahn will hand a run to the 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Strong running that time by Cameron Neer, the junior running back out of Sedalia, Ohio. Muskingum now well over 100 yards rushing on the day, and we just began play here in the second quarter.
First and 10 on the 50-yard line.
Cameron Neer was officially marked out of bounds at midfield, and that is where the ball will be spotted on this first and 10 for Muskingum, who leads Capital 17-7. Not even a minute in to the second quarter. Hahn in the pistol. Takes the snap. He'll go back to throw. Scrambling to his left. Looking, and now he will take off, and he will finally be shoved out of bounds by Cole Carter around the Capital 45-yard line. So looks as though that'll be a pickup of 5 on the play. Actually, they'll mark him out of bounds at the 46, so that'll be only a gain of 4 on the play for Brady Hahn. Hahn so far in the day, 3 of 7 through the air for 71 yards and a score. He's also ran the ball 6 times for 53 yards. He's averaging 8.8 yards per carry so far, has a long of 20. Second and 6 for Muskingum from the Capital 46-yard line. It's a play fake. Hahn throws wide open at the 38-yard line, down to the 25-20, 15-10-5 touchdown, but a flag has been thrown back at the 28-yard line. Boy, I'll tell you what, Jalen Goodman was open from here to there. There wasn't a Crusader within 5 yards of him. And I think because of an upcoming penalty here against Muskingum, Capital will have dodged a bullet that time. But, man, there have been a lot of plays so far today where these Muskingum receivers have gotten so wide open down the field.
During the run, holding, offense, number 83, 10 yards from the spot of the foul. The result of the play is a first down Muskingum.
John Mack Jr., sophomore wideout out of Canton, played at Powerhouse Canton McKinley during his prep days. Flagged for the holding. If that does not happen, Muskingum has another touchdown, but for right now, it stays 17-7 in favor of the Muskies with 13:21 remaining here in the second quarter. Hahn in the pistol. 2 receivers to the far side, 1 to the near side. Hahn takes the snap. Back to throw. Throwing deep. It is caught at the 5. Oh, no, it was dropped. Darius Hayes-Carruth. Man, if he makes that catch, that's probably 6 more points for the Muskies. But luckily for Capital, Hayes-Carruth lets that one slip through his mitts. Ooh, boy, man, talk about dodging a couple of bullets within the last few moments for Capital. 2 touchdowns taken off the board thanks to a penalty by Muskingum, and then the drop by Hayes-Carruth, who had a touchdown earlier in this game. 2nd and 10. Muskingum at the Cap 38. Now it's a pitch to the 40. 35-30. Down near the 25-yard line. Jalen Goodman, the freshman out of Columbus. Blaisdell with the tackle for Capital. And it is a pickup of 10. Fresh set of downs for Muskingum. 1st and 10 now at the Capital 26-yard line. 12:51 remaining here in the second quarter. Muskingum 17, Capital 7. But once again, Muskingum putting a drive together here offensively. Brady Hahn will hand off to Curtis. And Curtis will take it across the 25 to about the 23-yard line. So this will be a gain of 3 on the play for Curtis.
Making the tackle, number 95, Jack Blaisdell.
Blaisdell once again in on the tackle for Capital. 2nd and 6 for Muskingum from the Capital 22-yard line. Brody Hahn, 6 carries for 53 yards. Curtis, meanwhile, 4 carries for 13 yards so far in the day for Muskingum. Hahn in the pistol. Curtis is tailback right behind him. 2 receivers to the far side. Hahn looking to throw. Catch made at the 15. Inside the 10. Down to the 8-yard line. Another catch made by Jalen Goodman. Jalen Goodman, the freshman out of Columbus, went to Marion Franklin, former Red Devil. Really good football program out of the City League here in Columbus. So now it'll be 1st and goal for Muskingum from the Capital 7-yard line. Hahn once again to the pistol. 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. Jeffrey Curtis once again is the tailback. Hahn will take the snap. It's a pitch to Curtis. Curtis bottled up around the 9-yard line. Nice job of sealing the edge that time by Cole Carter. Combining with him on the tackle was Valor Apiarius, freshman defensive back out of Cincinnati, went to Oak Hills High School. So a loss of 1 actually on that play. That will back it up to the Capital 8-yard line. 10:51 remaining here in the second quarter. Muskingum 17, Capital 7. Hahn once again in the pistol. 2 receivers to the far side, 1 to the near side in Hayes-Carruth. Hahn will roll to his left, running with the ball. Carruth inside the 5, down to about the 4-yard line. So that's a gain of 4 on the play for Hahn. And now an important 3rd down upcoming here for Capital. Really for both teams. If you think about it, defensively for Capital, offensively for Muskingum. 3rd and goal for Muskingum from the Capital 2-yard line. As we're getting set to tick under 10 minutes here in the second quarter. Muskingum looking to add to its 10-point lead here. Hahn with the play fake. A throw. It is incomplete. Oh, goodness. They were trying to show some love to the big man that time. Now a flag has been thrown. The intended target that time was Kirkland Davis, as now a Capital player was arguing. The Capital bench is waving goodbye to Kirkland Davis as the sophomore from Cambridge, Ohio, is heading back to the Muskingum bench. It looks as though that the personal foul will be against 45. Let's check to see what the call is.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense, number 45. 15-yard penalty, the down counts, 4th down.
So Kirkland Davis hit with the penalty that time, and there's no other way to put it. That's just a boneheaded play right there. You got to be able to play a little smarter than that and to keep your composure. So incomplete pass, the penalty. That will now back it up to the Capital 17-yard line. So this will be about a 24-yard field goal. Gavin Costello nailed one from 37 earlier in this game. Snap back, hold down. Kick is on the way. It is up, and it is good. Another field goal for Gavin Costello. More points for Muskingum. Let's take a timeout. 9:44 remaining in the second quarter. It's Muskingum 20, Capital 7 here on athletics.capital.edu.
Follow and like us so you don't get left out.
9:44 remaining in the second quarter. Muskingum now leading Capital 20-7 thanks to a 27-yard field goal by Gavin Costello. Another check of scores around the OAC. Mount Union starting to pull away from Marietta 21-7. 13:41 remaining in the second quarter. 12:37 left to play in the second quarter at Ohio Northern. Polar Bears tied with Heidelberg 14-all. Tied game between John Carroll 7-7 with 58 seconds remaining in the first half of that game. And finally, Wilmington and Otterbein, they're knotted at 7 as they are in the middle of the second quarter. Good return up to the 30-yard line. Couple of solid returns so far in the day for Jake Harris. As Harris is tackled at the 30-yard line. Good field position here for Capital. And now the Crusaders will look to mount a scoring drive here as Mitchell Mayshock will come out here at quarterback. Mayshock on that last offensive possession for Capital threw an interception. Interception made by Brian Brown, junior defensive back out of Columbia, South Carolina. 1st and 10 for Capital from their own 30-yard line. Mayshock with 4 wideouts. Play fake. Mayshock back to throw. It is picked off. Another interception by Mayshock to midfield. 45-40, 35-30. Tackled out of bounds around the 25-yard line. Jovan Roberts, freshman defensive back out of Columbus. Second interception of the day for Mitchell Mayshock. Second turnover of the day for Capital. And once again, Muskingum will have great field position here offensively. Can't say it enough. All season long, turnovers have really hurt Capital's chances of winning football games here in 2019. And today, these turnovers have helped Muskingum jump out to a big lead, and now Capital, where they might be digging themselves a bigger hole here if Muskingum finds a way to put this ball in the end zone. 1st and 10 at the Capital 23-yard line. Hahn, play fake, throw, complete to the 20, inside the 20, down to the 15-yard line. Catch made by the big boy, Jacob Quinn, 6'5", 250-pound tight end from Byesville, Ohio. Gain of 8 on the pass play, so now it's 2nd and 2 for Muskingum from the Capital 15-yard line. Hahn in the shotgun, receiver to each side of the field. Back to throw. Pass to the end zone, incomplete. Darius Hayes Caruth was the intended target. Avery Sylvester, however, in on the coverage for Capital. So now it's 3rd and 2 for Muskingum from the Capital 15-yard line. 8:40 left to play in the second quarter. Muskingum looking to add to its 20-7 lead over Capital. Moments ago, an interception by Mitchell Mashock. Jovan Roberts with the pick for Muskingum. Brady Hahn in the pistol. 2 wide outs to the far side. And now a flag will be thrown here as a false start will be called against Muskingum.
False start, offense, number 45. 5-yard penalty, replay, 3rd down.
And of course, the penalty goes against Kirkland Davis, who on the last offensive drive for Muskingum was flagged for a 15-yard penalty. Unsportsmanlike. So now it's 3rd and 7 for Muskingum from the Capital 20-yard line. 3 wide receivers set. 2 to the far side, 1 to the near side. Hahn will throw. It is complete to the 10 inside the 5-yard line.
Brady Hahn is complete to number 84,
Tyler Hideki making the reception for Muskingum. And now a 1st and goal situation for the Muskies. As Hahn was able to roll out there and complete the pass. Hahn now 7 of 14 through the air. About 120 yards passing. Already has a passing touchdown in this game. 1st and goal from the Cap 4-yard line. Hahn will take the snap. And he will hand, and it is a rushing touchdown for Muskingum. Cameron Neer takes it into the end zone from 4 yards out. And it's now a 26-7 lead for Muskingum. About as easy as you can get when it comes to a John up the middle into the end zone for Cameron Neer, who also has a passing touchdown in this game as he was able to connect with his quarterback, Brady Hahn, earlier in the ball game. So now Gavin Costello will come on for the extra point. Costello, he's had a good day, nailing a couple field goals for the Muskies. So far perfect on the day from an extra point standpoint. Snap back, hold down, kick is on the way. It is up, and it is good. We will pause once again. 8:02 remaining here in the 2nd quarter. Muskingum 27, Capital 7. This is Crusaders football on athletics.capital.edu. .802 remaining in the 2nd quarter. Muskingum 27, Capital 7. Another scoring drive for the Muskies following another interception by the Crusaders. Cameron Neer takes it in from 4 yards out. Muskingum 27, Capital 7. This game is quickly getting away from Capital. Gavin Costello will kick it away for the Muskies. Harris will fair catch it.
Number 13, Jake Harris, fair catches the kick from number 96, Gavin Costello.
So this will bring the ball out to the 25-yard line for Capital as they get ready to mount another offensive drive here. It's been a rough day for Mitchell Mashock. 4 of 7 through the air, 39 yards, 2 very costly interceptions. Meanwhile, Justin McClellan back in at quarterback for Capital. 2 receivers to each side of the field. Evan Butler at tailback on McClellan's left hip. 1st and 10 for Capital from their own 25. McClellan will take the snap. He will hand to Butler, and Butler is stacked up at the line of scrimmage at the 25-yard line. So no gain on the play, no yardage for Butler on that play. Senior out of Dayton. He was one of 10 seniors that were honored before today's game for Capital. They've been with Chad Rogaszewski's coaching staff all 4 years here at Capital. 2nd and 10. Capital still at their own 25-yard line as we tick under 7.5 to play here in the second quarter. Muskingum 27, Capital 7. McClellan with 2 receivers to each side of the field. McClellan, play fake, throws, and that's incomplete. Tried to find Butler out of the backfield that time, but it never got to Butler. So now 3rd and 10 upcoming here for Capital from the Muskingum 25-yard line. McClellan will now check out from quarterback. Mayshock will check back in. 2 receivers to the far side, 1 to the near side. Mayshock rolling to his right on the pass play. Throws and incomplete. That could have been a dangerous throw right there as the pass is incomplete. Intended target was Wyatt Pertusip. Nehemiah Bowie, the linebacker, was lurking there a bit for Muskingum, junior from Westerville, Ohio. So now Cam Lee out to punt the football away for Capital. Now to return the punt, Darius Hayes-Caruth. Actually, excuse me, Lenicki. Punt is away. Lenicki will let it bounce at the 39-yard line. And it'll be downed at the 37 by Capital's Quincy Edwards, freshman defensive back out of Columbus, former Pickerington Central product. 7:01 remaining here in the second quarter. Muskingum 27, Capital 7. Quick check of the stats here for you. It's been a good day offensively for Brady Hahn as the Muskingum offense comes back onto the field. Hahn 7 of 14 through the air, 129 passing yards and a passing touchdown. Hahn has also rushed 7 times for 59 yards and even has a 27-yard receiving touchdown on the day. Julian Goodman has been the leading receiver for Muskingum. 2 catches for 34 yards. And Hahn is the leading rusher, again with 7 carries for 59 yards. Hahn back to throw. Lofts up a deep ball, and it is incomplete. Avery Sylvester in on the coverage, defending against Darius Hayes-Caruth. Avery Sylvester, another one of those seniors that was honored before today's game, transferred to Capital from Iowa Wesleyan, a native of Normal, Illinois. 2nd and 10 now for Muskingum from their own 38-yard line. 2 receivers split out wide to the left. Curtis the tailback. The give is to Curtis to the 40, and he'll rumble his way down to the 44-yard line as it'll be a gain of about 6 or so. Setting up a 3rd and short situation for Muskingum. 3rd and 4 to be more specific. 6:35 remain in the second quarter. Muskingum 27, Capital 7. Couple substitutions now as checking out for Muskingum is Kirkland Davis, the fullback. Hahn will break the offensive huddle for Muskingum. 10 seconds on the play clock. Hahn takes the snap. Back to throw. It is almost hauled in. Boy, that would have been a spectacular catch right there by Jalen Goodman, but he was not able to haul it in. And now they'll bring on the punt team for Muskingum. So a much-needed stop defensively for Capital right there, trailing Muskingum 27-7 with 6:10 remaining in the second quarter. Mike Smith Jr. back to receive the punt for Capital. He is standing at his own 19. Patton out to punt the football away for the Muskies. Patton gets it away. Smith takes it at the 17, to the 20, 25, 30, and he'll be brought down at the 31-yard line. So a decent return right there by Mike Smith. Decent field position awaits Capital here offensively. Stay tuned for the Rusty Bucket halftime show. We'll take a look at scores around the Ohio Athletic Conference as well as Division I football, as there are plenty of interesting games taking place early on here in the afternoon. We'll examine the first half stats and more. Rusty Bucket halftime show coming up at halftime. 5:58 remain in the second quarter. Muskingum 27, Capital 7. 3 wide receiver set. McClellan Back to throw. Looking, and he will throw. It is incomplete. As Trocon Kania was in on the coverage for Muskingum that time.
There was an eligible receiver in the area of the pass. Second down.
2nd and 10 for Capital from their own 32-yard line upcoming here as McClellan will stay in at quarterback. 3 wideouts. 2 to the far side, 1 to the near side. Butler, the tailback, as McClellan will throw, complete to Smith. As he had to stretch out for that one, and that will be about a yard short of the first down marker. That'll be a pickup of 9 on the play for Mike Smith Jr. McClellan under center. Quick sneak for Capital. Should have the first down. Only had to get 1 yard, and it looks as though the Capital has it. Dylan Schoonover signaling first down, and finally we get a first down as well. So first down and 10 for Capital. From their own 42. McClellan will set up in the shotgun. 2 receivers to his right, 1 to his left. McClellan with the play fake, scrambling to his left. Throws and caught into Muskingum territory at the 49-yard line. Cameron Lee body slammed out of bounds that time. The Muskingum sideline was wanting or the Capital sideline, I should say, was wanting a penalty on that play.
9-yard gain on the play, 2nd and 1.
9-yard gain on the play for Cam Lee on the reception. 2nd and 1 for Capital from the Muskingum 49-yard line. McClellan once again on the shotgun. Schoonover on his right hip, Butler on his left hip. 3 wideouts, 2 to the far side, 1 to the near side, that being Mike Smith Jr. McClellan rolling to his right, trying to get out of trouble. Across the 50, down to the 45-yard line. Weaving his way like a snake that time as McClellan was able to pick up a first down for Capital as Trocon Kanea, senior linebacker of Cleveland, made the stop defensively for Muskingum. Under 4.5 to play here in the second quarter. It is Muskingum 27, Capital 7. Mayshok in the shotgun. 2 receivers to each side of the field. Butler, the tailback, on Mayshok's left hip. Man put in motion. It's a handoff. Jet sweep. Up to the 43-yard line. On the carry that time for Capital was number 45, Noah Meeker, junior wideout out of Powell, Ohio. Went to Olin Tangi Liberty back during his prep days. 3-yard gain on the play. McClellan sticking in there at quarterback for Capital. Mike Smith split out wide to the left. 2 receivers to the far side. McClellan throwing. It is almost picked up, but Mike Smith Jr. came away with the reception. Jovan Roberts almost had his 2nd interception of the day, but instead it goes down as a reception for Mike Smith Jr. More importantly, a first down for that Capital offense. Ball spotted out with the Capital 34. McClellan in the shotgun, 4 wideouts to each side. McClellan hands off. Gentino inside the 30, rumbles his way down to the 28-yard line of Muskingum. Gain of 6 on the play for the junior from Zanesville, Ohio. Nice looking drive here for Capital. Capital will get the ball first to begin the second half, so if they could get a score here before the end of the half, perhaps that will give them some much-needed momentum heading into the second half and allow them to get back into this game. McClellan, the lefty, slings it downfield. Smith Jr. makes the catch. No, it'll be ruled incomplete. Spectacular effort that time by Smith Jr. as he was trying to pluck another high one out of the air that time, but just wasn't able to get the feet in bounds. So now it is 3rd and 3 Capital at the Muskingum 27-yard line. Capital's got to come away with points on this offensive drive right here as they trail Muskingum by 20 here in the late going in the second half, or the first half, excuse me. McClellan with a receiver to each side of the field. He'll go back to throw. Set up a screen pass. Smith Jr. with the catch. He'll bully his way across the 25 down to the 23-yard line, and that should be enough for a Capital first down. It is.
Tackling in, number 6, Brian Brown, and number 1, Chokon Kanina.
Chokon Kanina in on the tackle for Muskingum. Fresh set of downs for Capital. First and 10. Capital at the Muskingum 23-yard line. McClellan still in a quarterback. Hand to Gentino. Gentino is thrown back at the 22-yard line. Only a gain of 1 on the play.
Making the tackle, number 1, Chokon Kanina.
Chokon Kanina once again in on the tackle. Boy, we have been calling his name a lot today defensively for Muskingum.
A 1-yard gain to play, 2nd and 9 on the 22.
Minute 50 remaining here in our first half. Muskingum 27, Capital 7. Capital trying to come away with a touchdown here. Trying to cut into this Muskingum lead before half. McClellan with a receiver to each side of the field. Gentino the tailback. McClellan back to throw. Looking, still looking downfield. He will tuck it and run it, and he will be knocked out of bounds around the 15-yard line, so that'll be a gain of about 7 on the play for Capital.
Out of bounds, number 29, Nidema Bowie.
Minute 22 and counting here in the first half. Muskingum 27, Capital 7. Actually, the clock stopped thanks to McClellan going out of bounds. So McClellan with a receiver to each side of the field. Barnett split out wide to the right. Smith split out wide to the left. Gentino the tailback. And now a timeout is going to be called by Muskingum. Minute 22 remaining here in the first half. Muskingum 27, Capital 7. Another check of scores around the OAC. Now Union up big over Marietta right now, 35-7 with 7:26 remaining in the first half. Ohio Northern and Heidelberg dealing a good one up there at ONU. 8:20 remain in the second quarter. 21-all between the Polar Bears and the Student Princes. Tight game at halftime at Baldwin Wallace. The Yellow Jackets with a slim 10-7 lead over John Carroll. And finally, they have gone to the half at Otterbein. The Cardinals trailing the Quakers of Wilmington 13-7 in that game. Of course, we'll go over the scores, first half stats. We'll even check out some scores from Division I college football as well during the Rusty Bucket halftime show. That is coming up in mere moments. Meanwhile, in our game, Muskingum 27, Capital 7. And the minute 22 remaining here in the first half. Capital facing a very important third down, 3rd and 2 from the Muskingum 15-yard line. McClellan with a receiver to each side of the field. He'll put Butler in motion. McClellan back to throw. And Barnett tackled back at the 20-yard line. They were trying to set up a bubble screen play that time, but Muskingum read it beautifully. That will actually be a loss on the play, backing it up to the Muskingum 20-yard line. And so now they will send Mayshawk onto the field. 4th and 7 from the Muskingum 20-yard line. 4 wideouts, 3 to the near side, 1 to the far side. That being Wyatt Pertusip. Mayshawk, play fake. Mayshawk in trouble, throws, incomplete. Simply way too much pressure that time. Tim Oosley came in on the play off the edge, as well as Drew Lowry, who's had a very good game. And now Mayshawk is lying face down on the turf.
There is no foul for intentional contact in this first down and Muskingum. Official out for injury.
So now Mayshawk being attended to by the Capitol training staff, and oh boy, this is not looking good. Meshock right now is lying down motionless on the ground. He took a shot from both Ousley and Lowry. He is now being flipped on his back. While they attend to Meshock, let's pause. 39 seconds remaining in the first half. Muskingum 27, Capital 7. This is Crusaders football on athletics.capital.edu. Welcome back to Bernlohr Stadium. A hush has gone over the crowd here in Bexley as they continue to attend to quarterback Mitchell Meshock on the last offensive play for Capital. Meshock going back to pass and went down hard on the turf as he was pressured by Tim Ousley and Drew Lowry of Muskingum. Just been told a moment ago that while going down to the turf, Meshock might have suffered extreme whiplash on the turf as his head made contact with the turf on his way going down. Meshock being surrounded by a host of athletic trainers as now his helmet has been taken off of his head and they are now securing his neck. I would imagine at some point that a stretcher is going to have to be brought onto the field in order to get Meshock off the gridiron. It's already been a very tough day for Meshock, who has tossed a couple of interceptions, but it's moments like these in games where what's happening on the football field kind of takes a back seat, because right now we're talking about the well-being of a young man. Meshock right now looks as though that the training staff for Capital, as well as some trainers coming over from the Muskingum side, they're going to get ready to lift Meshock as now a stretcher is being wheeled on to the field. You never like to see something like this happen during a football game, but there's no other way to put it, folks. This is an inherently violent sport. There have been many rule changes. There have been many ways to try to keep this, try to make this sport safer for all participants. But unfortunately, you come across injuries like this, and for Meshock, it's particularly disappointing for him in that it wasn't necessarily a hard hit by a player. It was his head just taking a violent hit, just making contact with that turf. Chad Rogaszewski talking with Keith Rucker and the rest of his coaching staff at the moment.
We will play the last 39 seconds of the second quarter after the halftime break. We will have a 20-minute halftime break.
So now both teams will be going to halftime, as now they have decided to play the last few seconds of this first half. They'll tack it on to the end of the second half, as Mitchell Meshock continues to get worked on out there in the field. So a bizarre way to end the first half here at Bernlohr Stadium. At the half, it is Muskingum 27, Capital 7, and there continues to be virtually no sound coming from the stands here. It's kind of a surreal scene, if you ask me, here in Bexley right now. Again, if you're just joining us, an injury to Mitchell Mayshock, one of the quarterbacks for Capital. Took a hard hit from a couple of defensive ends for Muskingum, and apparently his head hit the turf very hard. They have taken his helmet off. They have put a neck support on him. They are getting set to put him on a stretcher. Clock is now running. Muskingum's team has headed to the locker room. The majority of Capital players have headed to the locker room as well to talk some halftime strategy, although there are still a group of Capital players out there on the field. David Barnett sitting on the bench right now. There was a group of players that took a knee and circled around one another in a moment of prayer. And boy, Mitchell Mayshock needs a lot of prayers right now, the way this is looking right now. Mayshock has not been lifted up just yet, but looks as though the stretcher's in position. Now Mayshock is being lifted up. He is being put on the stretcher right now. Mayshock being carefully put on the stretcher. And we hope that everything is okay with that young man. 6'4", 225-pound junior signal caller out of Orlando, Florida. Attended Cocoa Beach High School. Can't imagine how Mitchell feels at this moment. I can't imagine the anxiety and the angst that Mitchell's parents, his family that had come up to see this final game of the 2019 season, how they're feeling at the moment, as now Mayshock being carted off the field in a very nice hand from both the Capital and the Muskingum fans here at Bernlohr Stadium. Hopefully everything turns out okay for Mitchell Mayshock. In the meantime, we will take a break. When we come back, the Rusty Bucket halftime show. We'll examine scores around the OAC as well as Division I football. Take a look at the stats from the first half and much more. At the break, Muskingum 27, Capital 7, here on athletics.capital.edu. Welcome into the Rusty Bucket halftime show. At the half, it is Muskingum 27, Capital 7. An unofficial halftime, so to speak. The reason being, towards the end of the first half, 39 seconds remaining in the first half, Mitchell Mayshock, one of the quarterbacks for Capital, went down hard and suffered an injury. Laid motionless on the ground, had to be flipped to his back, had to have a neck support put on, and was carted off via a stretcher. As soon as we have more information about his condition, we will definitely pass that news along to you. But the way it's going to go for this game going forward, the last 39 seconds of the first half will be tacked on to the already allotted time that we will have in the second half, but they decided to start halftime early, dismiss the teams, allow them to go to the locker room, and so that is where we're at right now as Muskingum holds a big lead over Capital, 27-7 in favor of the Muskies. Let's go ahead and get you caught up with scores around the Ohio Athletic Conference. We begin at Marietta, the Pioneers welcoming in the mighty Mount Union Purple Raiders. And right now, it is all Purple Raiders at the half, 41-7. Mount Union rolling up all sorts of yardage offensively in this game. It has been D'Angelo Fulford who allowed them to jump out to that big lead, 12 of 14 through the air, 181 passing yards, and 3 passing touchdowns for Mr. Fulford. Another game taking place right now. Second quarter at Ohio Northern. Tied ball game between Ohio Northern and Heidelberg. 21-all between the Yellow Jackets and the Student Princes. Another game, Baldwin Wallace leading John Carroll 10-7. They've just begun play in the third quarter of that game. And finally, the team that Capital lost to last week, Wilmington, leading Otterbein 13-7 in that game. That game has gone to halftime. So those are scores around the OAC. With a win today, Mount Union will have clinched the OAC title yet again, this time here in 2019. Now let's get the scores in Division I football. We begin in Starkville, Mississippi, where the Mississippi State Bulldogs play host to the 5th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. Nick Saban's crew has that game pretty well in hand right now. 5:17 remaining in the fourth quarter. It is the Crimson Tide leading the Bulldogs 38-7. Meanwhile, could an upset be brewing in Happy Valley, Pennsylvania? 9th-ranked Penn State only up by 3 against unranked Indiana. The Nittany Lions leading the Hoosiers 27-24 with 8:26 remaining in the fourth quarter of that game. Fourth quarter at Missouri. The Tigers hosting 11th-ranked Florida. The Gators leading the Tigers in that one 20-6 with 13:40 left to go in the fourth quarter. Nearing the end of their game in Nebraska, the Cornhuskers trailing 14th-ranked Wisconsin 37-21. Michigan, 15th-ranked Wolverines all over Michigan State right now, 34-10 with 14:14 remaining in the fourth quarter. And a couple more games involving top 25 teams. 22nd-ranked Oklahoma State putting a beat down on Kansas, 31-6 with 8:22 left to go in the fourth quarter. And finally, they are underway in South Bend, Indiana. The 16th-ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish leading 23rd-ranked Navy 7-0 in that game. Take another break. When we come back, we'll examine the first half stats of our game between Muskingum and Capital. It is the Muskies leading Capital 27-7 at halftime. This is the Rusty Bucket Halftime Show. Welcome back to the Rusty Bucket Halftime Show. At the half, it is Muskingum 27, Capital 7. I'm Charlie Danis. Let's go ahead and examine those first half stats between the Muskies and the Crusaders. First, team statistics. 134 rushing yards for Muskingum, only 26 for Capital. Passing yards, Muskingum 156, Capital 64. Total offense, Muskingum 290, Capital 90. Other team statistics of note, Muskingum 7 penalties for 66 yards, Capital 3 penalties for 45 yards. Time of possession, Muskingum 17 minutes and 20 seconds, Capital 12 minutes and 1 second. Third down conversions, Muskingum 3 of 7, Capital 2 of 7. Fourth down conversions, Capital's gone 0 of 2 on fourth down tries. Meanwhile, Muskingum has yet to go for it on fourth down. And finally, red zone scores out of chances. Muskingum a perfect 3 of 3. Capital, meanwhile, 0 of 2. Individual statistics now. We begin with Muskingum. Quarterback Brady Hahn had himself a good first half. Rushing, 7 carries, 59 yards rushing, averaged 8.4 yards on the ground. Throwing the ball, Hahn went 7 of 16 for 129 yards and a score. And he even had a reception that went for a score from 27 yards out. Cameron Neer, 2 carries for 41 yards. He also went 1 of 1. He was the one who threw the touchdown pass to Brady Hahn early on in this game. Jeffrey Curtis, 7 carries for 22 yards. And Jalen Goodman, 1 carry for 12 yards in this game for Muskingum. Receivers for the Muskies, Jalen Goodman, 2 catches for 34 yards. A score for Darius Hayes-Caruth that went for 51 yards. He only has 1 catch on the day. Brady Hahn, as I mentioned, 1 catch for 27 yards and a score. And Tyler Heineke, 1 catch for 16 yards. Meanwhile, for Capital, leading rusher for the Crusaders is Justin McClellan. Quarterback has carried the ball 6 times for 20 yards. Jaden Gentino, 3 carries for 12 yards. Evan Butler, 3 carries for 7 yards. And Noah Meeker, 1 carry for 3 yards. Throwing the ball, Justin McClellan, 5 of 8 through the air for 25 yards. Mitchell Mayshock, meanwhile, 4 of 8 through the air for 39 passing yards, no touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Receiving, Mike Smith, 4 catches for 44 yards and a score. Evan Butler, 2 catches for 16 yards. David Barnett, 2 catches for -5. And Cam Lee, 1 catch for 9 yards. Scoring summary now for this game. Muskingum jumped out to a big lead in this affair. Darius Hayes-Caruth got it started with a 51-yard touchdown reception. That gave Muskingum an early 7-0 lead with only 13:24 remaining in the first quarter. Brady Hahn then with the touchdown reception by Brady Hahn. Cameron Neer with the touchdown throw. Gavin Costello with the 37-yard field goal as well for Muskingum. That gave Muskingum a 17-7 lead. It was Mike Smith who finally got Capital on the board with that touchdown reception, but since then, a 39-yard field goal by Gavin Costello and a 4-yard touchdown run by Cameron Neer as well. That all adds up to a 27-7 lead for Capital. In a couple of minutes, we will have for you the second half of today's game between the Muskies and Capital. Coming out of halftime, once again the score, Muskingum 27, Capital 7. This is Capital Football on athletics.capital.edu.
39 seconds of the first half. We will begin the second half with a kickoff.
So an interesting note right there. There were 39 seconds remaining on the clock at the time of the Mitchell Mayshock injury, which unceremoniously brought the first half to an end. Again, if you're just joining us, Mitchell Mayshock went down in a heap. We suspect that there was major whiplash involved with his head making contact with the turf, lied motionless on the field for a time before finally being escorted out of the stadium via a stretcher. So we hope that that young man is okay and that he makes a speedy recovery. So in the meantime, we will proceed with this game as we would normally. Instead of playing the final 39 seconds to begin the second half, Muskingum elected to just play it like a regular game. 15 minutes here in the third quarter. And an important second half for Capital. It is senior day here at Capital. Obviously, if you're the Crusaders, you're wanting to send your seniors out with a victory, but also you're trying to avoid going winless this year. It's been a very, very, very tough year for Capital, who entered this game 0-9 overall, 0-8 in OAC play. Hopefully they make some good adjustments at halftime, and hopefully they show here. Capital will get the ball to begin the second half. As they begin the second half, trailing by 20 against Muskingum. Kick is away. Once again, football to be played here in Bexley. Kick taken to the 15, the 20. Spun around and eventually being taken down to the 22 is Jake Harris. So with Mitchell Mayshock out, this will be Justin McClellan's show from here on out at quarterback. It had been McClellan and Mayshock splitting time at quarterback, but because of the injury to Mitchell, it is Justin McClellan who will be the quarterback the rest of the way here for Capital. McClellan, the left-handed thrower. Freshman out of Bidwell, Ohio. Two receivers to the far side, one to the near side. Butler, the tailback. Play fake. Throw. It is caught by Barnett. Barnett able to make the snag. Stays in bounds for a few more yards as he takes it to the 41-yard line. Clutch snag right there by David Barnett. And maybe, just maybe, that'll get Capital going here to begin the second half. First and 10 for Capital at the Muskingum 41-yard line after the long reception by David Barnett. A guy now late getting onto the field. McClellan with a 4 wide receiver set. 3 to the far side, 1 to the near side, that being Barnett. Butler still the tailback. McClellan back to throw. Looking, still looking. Throws complete. Inside the 35, down to the 30-yard line, making the reception, Cam Lee, sophomore tight end out of Piqua, Ohio. So, boy, a good start here offensively for Capital in the second half. Long reception by David Barnett, and a good catch and run by Cam Lee as well. As Capital now sets up shop, first and 10 at the Muskingum 30-yard line. McClellan with a 4 wide set. Butler, the tailback, makes the catch out of the backfield inside the 25, inside the 20, down to the 19-yard line. So Evan Butler with a strong catch and run that time out of the backfield. 3 successive first downs for Capital to begin this offensive drive. This is just what the doctor ordered, if you ask me, for Capital. So first and 10 for Capital at the Muskingum 19-yard line. McClellan in the shotgun, 4 wideouts, 3 to the far side, 1 to the near side. Barnett all by him is lonesome. They will throw to Barnett. It is caught! Touchdown! Capital! From the word go, McClellan was looking Barnett's way. He lofted up another high one, and Barnett comes down with it. Touchdown, Crusaders. Senior wideout David Barnett from Springfield, Ohio, making the grab. And now Capital has a chance to cut this Muskingum lead down to 13. Snap back, hold down. Kick is up, and it is good for Middleton. We'll step aside for a moment. 13-11 remaining in the third quarter. Muskingum 27, Capital 13. This is Crusaders football on athletics.capital.edu.
Back deep to receive is number 84.
19-yard touchdown reception by David Barnett has Capital within striking distance of Muskingum. Muskies leading the Crusaders 27-14, 13-11 left to play in the third quarter. Justin McClellan and that Crusader offense marched down that field with purpose. Blake Middleton now getting set to kick things off for Capital. Back to receive, Jovan Roberts, Cameron Neer. Kick is away. And it's over everybody's head into the end zone. It'll trickle out of bounds along the back line, and that'll be a touchback as Muskingum will now come out to its own 25-yard line.
10 on the 25-yard line for the Muskies.
Score check around the OAC. They're still at halftime at Ohio Northern. Polar Bears and the Student Princes of Heidelberg are knotted at 21. Tied game between Baldwin Wallace and John Carroll as the Blue Streaks knock through a field goal. That's now a 10-10 game as they are 51 seconds away from going to the fourth quarter. And middle of the third quarter at Otterbein, the Cardinals leading the Quakers of Wilmington 14-13 in that game. Meanwhile, Hahn rolling out to his right, 30. Shoved out of bounds around the 35-yard line. That'll be a gain of 10 on the play. Boy, Hahn was so effective with his legs in that first half, escaping pressure, getting big chunk plays via his legs. And it continues there as that produces a fresh set of downs for the Muskies, who lead Capital 27-14 with 12:48 and counting here in the third quarter. 1st and 10 for the Muskies from their own 36-yard line. Hahn in the pistol. He will hand to his tailback Curtis, and Curtis, after bouncing off a tackler, he'll take it up to the 39-yard line, so that'll be a gain of 3 on the play for the freshman from Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia. So that'll set up a 2nd and 7 for Muskingum from their own 39-yard line. Capital sporting their purple jerseys, white trousers with the purple line down the side of the pants with the white helmet, and the Crusader logo on the side of the helmet. Muskingum, meanwhile, white jerseys, black shoulder pads, black pants with a white stripe down the trousers. Hahn, meanwhile, catch. No, it is incomplete. Tyler Hideki with the drop that time, and now that brings up a 3rd and 7. Muskingum facing a 3rd and 7 from their own 39-yard line. And a chance for Capital to get a key defensive stop right here and perhaps continue the momentum that they have built up on offense to begin the second half. First things first, got to get the stop here. Hahn in the shotgun. 5 wideouts. 3 to the near side, 2 to the far side. Hahn will throw. It's complete. Out to midfield, into Capital territory, down to the 45-yard line. Tyler Hideki making the reception. First down for Muskingum. And that hurts if you're Capital right there because you had him at 3rd and 7, but not able to make the defensive stop as Muskingum keeps this offensive drive going. 11:38 and counting in the third quarter. Muskingum 27, Capital 14. Brady Hahn in the pistol. 2 receivers to the near side. Curtis remains in at tailback. Hahn on an option, pitches it to Curtis. Curtis with a lot of running room, takes it across the 40, might have been bumped out of bounds around the 39-yard line or so. At least a gain of 5, perhaps 6, and they will give him 6 as they will spot the ball at the 39-yard line. So that'll bring up a 2nd and 4 for Muskingum. At the Capital 39-yard line, Muskingum 27, Capital 14. Capital cutting into this Muskingum lead thanks to a touchdown reception by David Barnett. Muskingum looking for a response here offensively. 2 receivers to the near side. Hahn fakes the pitch to Curtis, keeps it himself inside the 35, inside the 30, out of bounds at the 26-yard line. Hahn displaying some strong running on that particular run right there as Muskingum continues to march on down the field. They now have it 1st and 10 at the Capital 25-yard line. And the way Hahn is running the ball, he could be rushing for 100 yards today. He could be throwing for 100 yards today. Hahn with the play fake. Rolling to his left. Throws, end zone, touchdown, Muskingum. Touchdown reception by the big tight end, Jacob Quinn, out of Byesville, Ohio. Capital with the touchdown reception by David Barnett, but Muskingum comes right back with a score of their own as Hahn is able to find his tight end, Quinn, in the end zone.
Number 13, Jared Patton to hold.
On for the point after is Costello. Snap back, hold down, kick is on the way. It is good. We will pause once again. 10:16 remain in the third quarter. Muskingum 34, Capital 14. This is Crusaders football on athletics.capital.edu.
Winner will take home.
10:16 remaining in the third quarter. It is Muskingum 34, Capital 14. Brady Hahn finding Jacob Quinn, his tight end, from 25 yards out for another touchdown as the standout offensive day continues for Hahn. 10 of 20 through the air, 176 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns. He's also got 9 carries for 84 yards, and he also has a touchdown reception of 27 yards. 25 out to about the 30-yard line. Another decent return that time by Jake Harris. And now the Capital offense will come back onto the field. Last time they were on the field, things worked out pretty well for them as David Barnett was able to find the end zone off a pass of Justin McClellan. Capital's just got to keep on scoring points, but more importantly, they got to get some defensive stops. Trailing Muskingum by 20 with 10:09 remaining here in the third quarter. McClellan with 2 wide receivers to each side. He'll throw. It is incomplete. He was trying to hook up with Wyatt Pertus at that time, but overshot Wyatt by a couple yards. In on the coverage for Muskingum was Jovan Roberts, freshman out of Columbus, Ohio. Played his high school ball for the Marion Franklin Red Devils out of the Columbus City League. So now it's 2nd and 10. Capital at their own 30-yard line. Barnett split out wide to the right. 3 wide outs split out wide to the left. And Butler, the tailback, on McClellan's hip. Throw to Butler. He makes the catch at the 25, and he is taken down on the play. Blowing up that play defensively, Tim Oosley, senior out of MacArthur, Ohio. I'm sure he's going to be a all-OAC performer. Came into this game with 8.5 sacks, tied for 2nd in the OAC. He's going to be one of those players that's honored at the end of the year by the Ohio Athletic Conference, that is for sure. Loss of 3 on the play. It's now a 3rd and 13 for Capital from their own 27-yard line. McClellan, back to pass, looking, pressured, rolling to his left. He will throw. It is caught as Mike Smith made the catch, nearly broke out of a tackle, but his right foot went out of bounds at the 33-yard line, not allowing him to pick up more yardage on the play. And now Capital will have no choice but to punt the football away.
4th and 7 on the 33. Number 17, Cameron Lee to punt.
Cam Lee will be out to punt the football away for Capital.
To number 84, Tyler Hanecki.
Tyler Hanecki out to receive the punt for Muskingum, standing at his own 31. Make that his own 32. And now Lee is running with the football. He'll now punt it away. Rugby-style type of kick that will take a Capital bounce inside the 30, down around the 26-yard line. I don't know if that was Lee's intention or not. Probably not. But the main thing is Cam was able to get the ball away, and that's all that matters. So it'll be 1st and 10 for Muskingum at their own 25 with 8:36 remaining in the 3rd quarter. By the way, I want to give you a score update involving a Division I football team. Mentioned at halftime that Indiana was giving Penn State trouble. Well, 9th-ranked Nittany Lions will escape, beating Indiana 34-27 in that game. Of course, Penn State has got that big game coming up next week at Ohio State. And that could have been a big pass play right there for Muskingum had the tight end, Jacob Quinn, made the snag, but he let that one slip right through his fingertips. And Capital dodges a bullet right there. So it'll be 2nd and 10 now for Muskingum from their own 25. 8:29 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. It's Muskingum 34, Capital 14. Brady Hahn, the quarterback, has done a nice job directing this Muskingum offense thus far. 2 receivers to the far side, 1 to the near side. As Hahn will go back to pass once again. He'll look over the middle, crossing, and that will be a catch to midfield. Out across the 45 to the 44-yard line of Capital. Boy, oh boy, you want to talk about speed. Jalen Goodman, wide receiver out of Marion Franklin, he has had himself a day. You get that young man out into open space, and he knows what to do with the ball. He took it all the way down to the Capital 44-yard line. So now a 1st and 10 for Muskingum. Goodman only a freshman, so he's going to be sticking around Muskingum for a while yet. And a drop by Goodman that time. Capital wanting a fumble initially, but they said that he never had possession of the ball. That'll lead to a 2nd down.
Tackle by number 32, Taylor Aparias.
Or was that a catch? It was a catch, actually, by Goodman. Excuse me. That'll go down as a gain of 8. 2nd and 2 on the Capital 35-yard line. Hahn in the pistol. 3 wideouts. 2 to the near side, 1 to the far side. It's a fake and another fake. Hahn throws, and that is caught by the fullback, Kirkland Davis. A lot of trickery just for a gain of 3, but hey, whatever works, right? Kirkland Davis on the reception for Muskingum, and that results in a 1st down for the Muskies. 6:48 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Muskingum 34, Capital 14, and once again Muskingum is marching down the field. Hahn in the pistol formation. 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. And once again, Jeffrey Curtis in a tailback for the Muskies. Hahn will roll to his right. He will throw. It is out of bounds. Good coverage down the play, or down the field, I should say, for Avery Sylvester.
Went past past the line of scrimmage, second down.
Darius Hayes Carruth,
10, Brady Hahn falls incomplete out of
the
bounds.
intended target, or at least the nearest
Second and 10 on
receiver
the 32.
closest to that ball. So a 2nd and 10 for Muskingum from the Capital 32. As the shadows are starting to set in a little bit here in Bexley. Hahn in the pistol, 2 receivers to his right, 1 to his left. He'll go back to throw. Hahn rolling, running inside the 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown.
Number 10, Brady Hahn runs the ball for a touchdown for the Muskies.
Brody Hahn simply outrushed the Capital defense that time. Just outran everybody. Finds pay dirt once again, and his great day offensively continues.
Number 96, Gavin Costello attempt the extra point.
Hahn now with 1 receiving touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown, and 2 touchdowns through the air. So 4 total touchdowns for the Muskingum quarterback. Snap back, hold down. Kick is on the way. It is up and good. Let's take another timeout. 6:17 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Muskingum 41, Capital 14. This is Crusaders football on athletics.capital.edu. .617 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Muskingum 41, Capital 14. Today will be the end of the football season for Capital, but the basketball season, well, it's just beginning. Men's team able to defeat Trine of Indiana 69-53 last night. Crusaders led by G. Yahaya offensively, 19 points. Shot 6 of 12 from the field, 4 of 6 from three-point range. The men's team, they are back in action tonight. They will be taking on Albion of Michigan. That game beginning at 6 o'clock. We'll get things started with the pregame show beginning at 5:30. Ball taken to the 15, 20, 25, 30, and out to the 32-yard line goes Sam Pickett. Of course, Tom Cavanaugh will be on the call for that game, and because we have that basketball game as an injured Crusader is down on the field, because we have that game at 6 o'clock, we will have a very brief post-game show, and so that we were able to transport our equipment from the press box here at Bernlohr Stadium to Capital Center. Hope you enjoy that broadcast. It'll be very interesting to see how the men's team will perform this season after losing all those great seniors from a year ago. Caleb Cox, Joey Weingartner, Austin Schreck, Will Hanna. That was a great senior class, a team that ended up winning a share of the OAC regular season title and winning a couple games in the NCAA tournament as well. Be very interested to see what Damon Goodwin's crew looks here in the 2019-2020 campaign. Meanwhile, the Capital offense goes back to work. It's a run up the middle by Justin McClellan. He'll be cut down after a gain of 1 on the play. After a few whistles, they'll keep the clock running. 5:55 and counting here in the 3rd quarter. It is Muskingum 41 and Capital 14. It's been a great day offensively for Muskingum. Their quarterback, Brody Hahn, has just gone off today. 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, and a receiving touchdown. The guy has done it all. McClellan, meanwhile, back to throw. Ball is tipped and it's intercepted. Intercepted by Muskingum's Caleb Gator, senior linebacker out of Zanesville, Ohio. Went to John Glenn High School. He makes the defensive play, and another turnover for Capital.
Muskies have ball, 1st and 10 on the 33.
So, Muskingum with another offensive possession. I have some very important news to pass along to you folks, by the way. Mitchell Mayshock, who had to leave the game due to that injury late in the first half. We talked about how for moments he was lame, motionless, and had to be carted off. I have been told that Mayshock was moving, that there was movement for him before he left the facility, probably en route to a local hospital. But Mitchell Mayshock, again, was moving. Let's hope that everything is okay with him. This will be a carry inside the 25 down to the 23-yard line by Justin Bell, sophomore running back out of Northfield, Ohio. Went to Nordonia High School, 5'7", 170-pounder.
First and 10 on the 22.
So he'll get a carry, and that's a good carry at that, as that'll lead to a first down for Muskingum. First and 10 for the Muskies. From the Capitals' 22-yard line, following the interception by Caleb Gators. Fourth turnover of the day for Capital. Curtis, the running back, pushing his way towards the 20. And he'll finally be taken down at the 20-yard line by a host of Crusaders. Leading the charge defensively, Quincy Edwards, freshman defensive back out of Columbus. Gain of 2 on that last play. 4:35 left to play in the third quarter. Muskingum 41, Capital 14. Brady Hahn and the Muskingum offense taking their dear sweet time. Got a big lead here in the latter stages of the third quarter. No need to rush things. Hahn back to throw. Now he'll scramble inside the 15, and he'll be taken down to the 14-yard line. Looks as though Quincy Edwards made the tackle defensively for Capital. Edwards definitely one of those young pieces for Capital going forward defensively. Edwards, a freshman. Capital's gotten a lot of good play out of their freshman linebacker, Nick Fasonic, as well. Edwards and Fasonic, two key pieces to watch out for Capital in the following years. As Brody Hahn will set up in the pistol. A receiver to his right. Give to Curtis. Curtis inside the 15. He'll lower his head, burrow forward to about the 11-yard line. Setting up a third and short situation now for Muskingum. Muskies rolling up 41 points on Capital so far today. 257 of those yards through the air and 202 of those yards on the ground.
Correction, first and 11, or correction, first and 10 on the 11.
First and 10 on the 11 for Muskingum. Hahn in the pistol. Two receivers to the far side. Curtis, once again, is the tailback. Hahn back to throw. Now he's running around inside the 10, and he will dive. He'll be spotted at the 6-yard line.
Making the tackle, number 34, Nick.
Gain of 5 on the play for Hahn, who has gone over 100 yards rushing. He's now got 127 yards on the ground, 230 yards through the air, and let us not forget the reception that he had earlier in this game for 27 that went for a score. Hahn will hand to Curtis. Curtis with a cutback inside the 5, and he'll be taken down at the 3-yard line. Gain of 3 on the play. So the ball will be spotted at the 3-yard line.
Third and 1 on the 2-yard line.
Third and 1 on the 2-yard line. So Muskingum, they don't even have to score a touchdown here. All they have to do is pick up the first down. That will keep the clock running. Minute 45 and counting here in the third quarter. Muskingum 41, Capital 14. Hahn, hands. This will be a touchdown. Senior Bernard Johnson out of Marietta, Ohio, with the rushing touchdown. And now flags being thrown everywhere as we await the call from our head referee, Brian K. Smith. Ryan K. Smith talking, and now the call.
The touchdown was scored. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense, number 45. This is number 45's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul, counting towards disqualification. The foul will be assessed on the kickoff. Extra point.
Well, certainly not a day to remember if you're Kirkland Davis. Flagged for an unsportsmanlike penalty a moment ago right there, and earlier in the game, unnecessary roughness. But a rushing touchdown nonetheless for Bernard Johnson of Muskingum. Once again, on for the point after. Gavin Costello. It is up, and it is good. Quick timeout. Minute 36 remaining in the third quarter. Muskingum 48, Capital 14. This is Crusaders football on athletics.capital.edu. Back here at Burnlor Stadium, a minute 36 remaining in the third quarter. Muskingum 48, Capital 14. Well, this game is not close from a scoreboard standpoint, but there are plenty of other scores that are around the OAC. Otterbein leading Wilmington 21-20. 4.5 to play in the fourth quarter. Even tighter at Baldwin-Wallace. Good battle between the Yellow Jackets and the Blue Streaks of John Carroll. That game is tied at 10 with 4:08 remaining in the fourth quarter. Third quarter at Ohio Northern. Polar Bears trailing Heidelberg 28-21. And finally, at the beginning stages of the third quarter, Mount Union leading Marietta 35-7. Getting set to kick things away for Muskingum, Gavin Costello. He will kick it away. 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, midfield. Into Muskingum territory goes Jake Harris, sophomore out of Mason, Ohio. Good return that time by Jake Harris. And this is even better news. I mentioned a moment ago that Mitchell Maychok was moving. He was moving all extremities before leaving the stadium today. Again, if you're just joining us, Mitchell Maychok going down in a heap at the end of the first half. Laid motionless on the ground for a time. Very good news right there. Mitchell Maychok moving all extremities before leaving Burnlor Stadium today. McClellan throws. It is off the hands of Barnett, and boy, that could have been another turnover for Capital. In the vicinity defensively for Muskingum was Nehemiah Bowie, the junior out of Westerville. If that had resulted in an interception, that would have been the fifth turnover of the day for Capital. Meanwhile, for Muskingum, they have none. A goose egg in that category. McClellan will go back to pass. Throws, tipped up in the air, and another interception. Jovan Roberts with his second pick of the day. He is still on his feet. 45, 40. He'll be tackled finally at the Capital 36-yard line. The fifth turnover of the day for Capital. Yikes. And now a flag has been thrown, probably for an unsportsmanlike penalty. So once again, we will wait for the call here, but man, things are just going from bad to worse for the Crusaders.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense. Also after the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense, number 17. Those fouls will offset. It will be first down, Muskingum.
So a couple of players for both teams into a little bit of a scuffle there at the end of the play. Meanwhile, Jovan Roberts making another big defensive play for this Muskingum squad. 1:08 remaining here in the third quarter. Muskingum 48, Capital 14. Brady Hahn in the pistol. A receiver to each side of the field. Hahn will hand. And this will be a run up the middle to the Capital 35-yard line. Gain of 3 on the play for Cameron Neer, junior out of Sedalia, Ohio. Damian Loya in on the tackle for Capital. So, man, 5 turnovers on the day for the Crusaders. You're not going to win many football games if you turn the ball over like that. Give once again to Neer. Neer will cut it up across field. Inside the 30, down to the 25-yard line. And that will probably be the last play of the third quarter. That will indeed be the last play of the third quarter. We head to the fourth. Muskingum up big over Capital. The Muskies 48, the Crusaders 14. This is Crusaders football on athletics.capital.edu. Let us begin fourth quarter action here at Burnlore Stadium. It is Muskingum up big over Capital, 48-14. Barring something miraculous here, Capital in real danger of going winless here in 2019. Brady Hahn will hand off to Cameron Neer. Neer will cut it upfield inside the 20, and he'll be tackled out of bounds at around the 17-yard line or so.
Number 3, Cameron Neer ran the ball. 2nd and 1 on the 18.
2nd and 1 upcoming here for Muskingum from the Capital 16-yard line. Hahn, who has had himself a day offensively in the pistol. 2 receivers to the near side. And now flags will fly. A false start penalty on Muskingum. Hahn puts his palms up in amazement.
Full start, offense, number 4, 5-yard penalty, replay, 2nd down.
The false start penalty will go against Darius Hayes Caruth, who already has a touchdown reception in this game for Muskingum. So that'll back things up. Instead of a 2nd and 1 for Muskingum, it'll be a 2nd and 6. Ball will be spotted at the Capital 21-yard line. Hahn will be in the pistol. Back in at fullback is Kirkland Davis. Receiver to the far side. Hahn will hand to Neer. Neer up the middle. Trucks a defender inside the 10. Inside the 5. Still pushing the pile before he's finally taken down to the 4-yard line. Cameron Neer, the junior tailback from Sedalia, Ohio, showing some toughness right there. Now it's a 1st and goal situation for Muskingum.
1st and goal on the 5-yard line.
First and goal for Muskingum from the Capital 5. Near cuts it inside, down to the 2. Gain of 3 on the play for Near.
Making the tackle, number 54, Damian Loya.
So now a second and goal
Second and goal
from the Capital 2-yard line. 12:57 and counting here in the fourth quarter. Muskingum 48, Capital 14. Hahn with a receiver to the near side. Will hand Near towards the goal line, and he is down at the 1-yard line. Only a gain of 1. Wasn't able to quite cross the plane, so now a third and goal situation upcoming here for Muskingum.
Third and goal on the 1.
I formation for Muskingum. Third and goal. They will give to the fullback, Kirkland Davis, and they're going to say that Davis was stopped. Davis was even getting a push in the back from his quarterback, Brady Hahn, but that didn't matter. Capital able to make a defensive stand right there, and now Muskingum will elect to kick a field goal. This will be a chip shot for Gavin Costello, who's already knocked through a couple of field goals on the day for Muskingum.
Number 96, Gavin Costello.
Costello, a right-footed kicker. Connected from 34 yards out and 37 yards out today. This will be a short one. And now flags flying everywhere.
Flag on the field.
I have a feeling this might be a false start.
Delay of game. Offense, number 13. 5-yard penalty. Replay, 4th down.
My mistake, a delay of game penalty. Well, instead of using the 7-iron, now Costello will have to use the pitching wedge.
4th and goal on the 6th.
Still should be a relatively easy kick for Costello here. Kick is blocked. A blocked field goal. Jake El Sayed picks it up for Capital. And he'll be tackled at the 14-yard line.
Number 13, Jake Harris with the block of the kick.
Jake Harris with the block.
And returning the
Well, Harris has had a good day returning the ball. Now he makes a big play right there special teams-wise with the block. Good for him. So 11-12 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Muskingum 48, Capital 14. For once, a positive for the Crusaders as they make a big play on special teams. And they hold Muskingum scoreless on that offensive drive as a result. So 1st and 10 for Capital at their own 15-yard line. McClellan will hand to Butler. Butler out to the 25-yard line. Nice strong run that time by Butler. You can hear the pads popping up here. Want to pass along a final score, by the way. John Carroll ekes out a 17-10 win at Baldwin Wallace today. John Carroll ended up having itself a really good year. Its only loss on the season to Mount Union. I would fully expect John Carroll to make it in the NCAA tournament. 2nd and 10. McClellan with the pass. Mike Smith tried to go up there with a one-handed grab, and now a pass interference call. Cortez McGinnis was in on the coverage, junior defensive back out of Cincinnati. Let's see what the call will be here.
Pass interference. Defense, number 8. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic, 1st down.
So it is indeed a pass interference call.
As a result of the penalty, the Crusaders have a first down and
Capital will now have a 1st and 10 at their own 40-yard line. A receiver to the near side, 2 to the far side. Butler with another carry. And he'll take it across the 45 down to the 46-yard line of Capital. Gain of 6 on the play for Evan Butler.
Making the tackle, number 1, Chokan Kanina, and number 98, Giannis Daly. 6-yard gain, 2nd and 4 on the 46.
2nd and 4 for Capital from their own 46-yard line. McClellan in the gun. Play fake. Looking downfield. Lofts one up, and it's picked off. Picked off once again. The 6th turnover of the day for Capital. Guess who? Jovan Roberts. Give him the hat trick. 3 interceptions on the day for the freshman DB from Columbus. I'm sure he has a lot of friends and family cheering him on as he's had a whale of a game defensively. And now Muskingum will take over at their own 34-yard line. Brady Hahn still in at quarterback, along with the rest of that number 1 offense for Muskingum. Kind of surprised that Muskingum hasn't gone to the backups yet. It's a carry to the 40, 45, midfield, 45-40, 35-30, 25, pushed out of bounds around the 20-yard line. Finally is Justin Bell, the sophomore running back from Northfield, Ohio. Big run that time by Bell. .9:38 and counting in the 4th quarter. Muskingum 48, Capital 14. So 6 turnovers on the day for Capital, and Muskingum continues to march on down the field here. Another carry for Bell as he'll spin his way to the Capital 28-yard line. Only a gain of 1 on the play for Bell.
Julian Mendoza.
Well, it looks as though that Mount Union will be in good shape. 9:51 remaining in the 4th quarter of that game. Purple Raiders up 62-7 against Marietta, so they will officially be your OAC champions. Mount Union will be. Meanwhile, the give to Cameron Neer. Neer will bounce it outside, and he'll be pushed out of bounds at about the 18-yard line. Gain of 11 on the play for Cameron Neer.
Result of the play is a first down for the Muskies. 1st and 10 on the 18-yard line.
8:25 remaining in the 4th quarter. Muskingum 48, Capital 14. Brady Hahn with a receiver to each side of the field. Bell the tailback. Bell the carry. And he will take it right up the gut to the 16, so only a gain of 2 on the play for Bell as we will tick under 8 minutes to play. And now time has been called as a Muskingum player is down on the field. Boy, we've seen a lot of injured players today. By the way, I want to pass along more good news related to Mitchell Mashock. Just been told that before leaving the facility, moving all his extremities, alert, and talking. Those are the 3 things that you definitely look for when you have a player that suffered what at least looked to be a very scary injury for Mitchell Mashock. Towards the end of the first half, he went down hard on the turf, and his head made contact with the turf, and he was motionless for a time on the turf. But looks like everything is good for Mitchell Mashock as they have now taken him to a facility to get him checked out. Obviously not the way that he wanted to end his season, but they will probably be counting upon Mashock to play a big role for this team coming up next year. Mashock only a junior, so he's going to be one of those seniors that Capital is going to depend upon to be a leader in the 2020 season. Coming down to the wire at Otterbein. Cardinals leading Wilmington in that one 27-20. Again, John Carroll, winners over Baldwin Wallace 17-10. And a game right now that is in the middle of the fourth quarter, Ohio Northern and Heidelberg. They are tied at 28 apiece. Good game brewing between the Student Princes and the Polar Bears in that season finale for both teams. I would imagine that both Mount Union and John Carroll, those are going to be the two teams out of the OAC that will probably be making the NCAA tournament. Doesn't help Baldwin Wallace's case that they lost today to John Carroll. That would have been a really big win for the Yellow Jackets, and perhaps I could have pushed them into the NCAA tournament. That leaves Baldwin Wallace at 7-2 overall, 6-2 within OAC play. Meanwhile, John Carroll, their only loss on the year was to Mount Union, who I hear is a pretty good team. So if I had to guess, the OAC will probably put two teams into the NCAA tournament, that being Mount Union and John Carroll, which has been per usual. Last couple of years, it seems like those are the two teams that always find a way to get in the NCAA tournament. The injured player for Muskingum being helped off the field, that is Jonathan Alford. Alford, a 5'11", 250-pound freshman from Tampa, Florida. Gingerly making his way to the sideline is Alford. So now it's 2nd and 7 for Muskingum from the Capital 15-yard line. Tossed by Hahn to the end zone. Incomplete. Avery Sylvester in on the coverage. Hahn was trying to hook up with Hanecki, but comes up short. So now it's 3rd and 7 for Muskingum. On Capitals 15, 7:43 remaining in the fourth quarter as the shadows continue to creep in here at Bernlohr Stadium. Hahn in the pistol. Takes the snap. Darting around, running around, and Hahn will be buried back at the 24-yard line. Simply ran out of room that time, and now a flag has been thrown, and now fisticuffs are being thrown all over the place, and boy, this could get ugly right here. There is a Capital player in the middle of the scrum near the Muskingum sideline. The Capital coaching staff is telling the Capital players, stay on the sideline. We do not want a repeat of what happened between the Steelers and the Browns the other night. Capital's offensive players backing away now from the Muskingum sideline. There's a Muskingum player, at least I thought there was one, that was lying flat on his back. Capital keeping its cool on their sideline. And you know, it's pretty amazing. Couple of Division III athletes, they're able to keep their cool in a situation like that, whereas so-called professionals lose their cool, rip helmets off of other players and whack them in the head with them. It is amazing how players at the collegiate level can be so much more mature than their professional counterparts. And now a lot to sort out here for head referee Brian K. Smith and his crew. Obviously, this is a frustrating game for Capital. Obviously, this will be a frustrating end to what has been a very frustrating season. But at the end of the day, you got to be able to keep your cool in situations like these. So 7:22 remaining in the fourth quarter. Muskingum 48, Capital 14. This game already pretty much well in hand for Muskingum, but I would imagine that there's going to be personal fouls, ejections, all that kind of stuff coming up here in mere moments. I can see Brian K. Smith writing down all these notes that he's going to be announcing here in the upcoming minutes or so. Referees still huddling around each other. Far side of the field near the Muskingum sideline. Just got a lot to sort out here. If you just joined us, a mini melee broke out near the Muskingum sideline. Luckily for Capital, their players kept their cool. Their sideline did not rush to the other side of the field. They kept their composure. But there were still some fisticuffs and some bumping and all that good stuff over there near the Muskingum sideline. So right now, Brian K. Smith and his crew sorting things out. And now, the call.
There are multiple fouls after the play. Dead ball. Unnecessary roughness. Defense, number 41. Also after the play. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Defense, number 41. Number 41 has been disqualified for fighting. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense, number 40 has been disqualified for fighting. Number 32 of the offense, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 32 has been disqualified for fighting. Number 89, unsportsmanlike conduct of the offense, number 89 has been disqualified for fighting. There are also fouls against number 10 of the offense and number 6 of the offense, unsportsmanlike conduct. All of those fouls will offset the down counts. It is 4th down.
All right, so a lot to summarize there. First for Capital, Blade McCulley and Rex Chadea have each gotten the boot. They have been removed from this game. Meanwhile, for Muskingum, Lucas Forte has been thrown out of the game, and Brady Hahn and Brian Brown, they have not been thrown out of the game, but they have been assessed on sportsmanlike conduct penalties as well. So all those offset. It'll be 4th and 14 from Muskingum from the Capital 22-yard line. This will be about a 38-yard field goal or so for Costello. Snap back, hold down. Kick is on the way. It is up, and it is good. Boy, it's been a good day for Gavin Costello. Perfect 3 for 3. We'll take a quick timeout. 7:03 remaining in the 4th quarter. Muskingum 51, Capital 14. This is Crusaders football on athletics.capital.edu. .03 remaining in the 4th quarter. Muskingum 51, Capital 14. 40-yard field goal by Gavin Costello. It's been a great day for Muskingum, offensively, defensively, even special teams-wise, aside from the blocked field goal. Meanwhile, for Capital, it's just been another long, tough day here at the office. 6 turnovers on the day for the Capital offense. Another return by Jake Harris. Harris will take it to about the 26-yard line. Capital offense will now come back onto the field.
Capital has ball, 1st and 10 on the 27-yard line.
First and 10 for Capital at their own 26-yard line. McClellan will go back to throw. Looking, scrambling to his left, and he'll throw it in the dirt.
Pass by number 4, Justin McClellan, is incomplete.
Ben Drake, the wide receiver, the senior, was nearest to the ball, but wouldn't have mattered anyway because McClellan was out of the pocket. Therefore, he could have thrown the ball anywhere. Stops the clock with 6:51 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Muskingum 51, Capital 14. McClellan will hand to Evan Butler. And Butler will be tackled at the 25. That's only going to be a loss of 2 actually on the play. Some substitutions now for Capital offensively. New players getting an opportunity here. And now it is 2nd down, or 3rd down I should say, for Capital. McClellan with 3 wideouts to his right, 1 to his left. Throw, and that'll be incomplete. Barnett was the intended target, but it was simply too high. Jovan Roberts, who's had himself a day defensively with 3 interceptions, in on the coverage. And now Capital will punt the football away.
Number 17, Cameron Lee to punt. Number 84, Tyler Hideki.
Cam Lee will punt the football away for Capital. Kick is away and will bounce out of bounds around the 35-yard line,
Number 17, Cameron Lee,
which is where Muskingum will take over.
35-yard line. 1st and 10.
6:01 remaining in the fourth quarter. Muskingum 51, Capital 14. Another final to pass along to you. How about this? Wilmington able to come back. They were down 27-20 with 11 seconds to go at Otterbein. Quakers found a way to get it done. They beat Otterbein 28-27 on a last-second touchdown reception. How about that? A run to the left by Justin Bell. So Wilmington defeating Otterbein today 28-27. John Carroll defeating Baldwin Wallace 17-10. And they're in the latter stages of the fourth quarter. Still tied 28 all between Heidelberg and Ohio Northern. It'll be interesting to see how that game ends up. 2nd and 1 for Muskingum from their own 44-yard line. The give is to Justin Bell, and Bell is stuffed. Nowhere to go that time as Matthew Luafo making the tackle. Junior defensive lineman out of Miamisburg, Ohio. So now it's 3rd and 3 for Muskingum. 3rd and 2, I should say, from their own 43-yard line. As looks like Brady Hahn has been lifted from the game. Doug Crawford, freshman quarterback from Dade City, Florida. So Hahn's day is officially done, and boy, what a day it was for the junior. As this will be a run up the middle into Capital territory, down to the 45-yard line. Strong run that time by Justin Bell, and that'll be a first down for Muskingum. Here's the day that Brady Hahn had offensively. 14 of 27 through the air for 230 yards and 2 passing touchdowns. 13 carries for 120 yards and a score. And finally, 1 reception for 27 yards that went for a score. That is 4 total touchdowns on the day for Brady Hahn, the quarterback, and he did it in a myriad of ways. 1st and 10 for Muskingum. At the Capital 45-yard line. Now it's a simple run up the middle. Justin Bell with the carry. And yeah, at this point, Muskingum just trying to run the clock out. With the win today, Muskingum will improve to 3-7 overall and 2-7 with an OAC play. That will end up being their final record in 2019. Meanwhile, for Capital, 0-10 overall and 0-9 within conference play. To say that 2019 was a rough year for the Crusaders is putting it lightly, as that'll be another run up the middle. Donnie Wilkinson, the freshman from Westchester, Ohio, with the carry.
Result of the play is a first down, 1st and 10.
Going winless during a football season is something that you never want to go through, whether you be a coach, a player, or a fan. Unfortunately, I know that feeling all too well, being a Browns fan, as Cleveland did that a couple years ago. A very tough pill to swallow for this Crusader squad that has a lot of pride in what they do day in and day out, as this will be another run up the middle to the 30-yard line to Donnie Wilkinson. As far as I know, head coach Chad Rogaszewski is expected to return as head coach for Capital. I'm sure that this is the type of season that's weighed down on him big time, along with his coaching staff. And you're looking for improvement. You're trying to find positives, but at the end of the day, your job as a coach is to win. And he was not able to do that here in 2019, but we are hoping that Capital can move past this season and that more wins are available for Capital in the not-too-distant future, as that Muskingum continues to run the ball here. Minute 35 remaining here in the 4th quarter. Stay tuned for the Byers Airport Subaru postgame show. We'll examine the stats, look at scores one more time, as we'll put a capper on the 2019 season for Capital football. Hopefully Capital fans will not have to go through the feelings that they're feeling right now, as Muskingum is getting set to don the victory formation here. Going under center will be Doug Crawford. He will take a knee, and this will keep the clock running. Probably needs to do that one more time to make this official. For Muskingum, a great way to end their 2019 season as they pick up their 3rd overall win and their 2nd win in OAC play. For meanwhile, a Capital program that did not taste victory here in 2019. A lot of question marks, a lot of soul searching that will probably be taking place this offseason as they try to come back from this and they try to get back to their winning ways. Final score from Bernlohr Stadium. Muskingum 51, Capital 14. This has been a presentation of Crusaders football on athletics.capital.edu. Short break. When we come back, we'll have the Byers Airport Subaru postgame show for you. Muskingum defeats Capital today 51-14 here on Senior Day. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome into the Byers Airport Subaru postgame show. Today, Capital falls by a final of 51-14. Quick score update around the OAC for the last time here in 2019. Mount Union defeats Marietta 69-7. John Carroll 17-10 winners over Baldwin Walls. And Wilmington pulls it out over Otterbein 28-27. Only one game remaining, 6:22 left to go in the fourth quarter. Heidelberg and Ohio Northern tied at 28. Quick check of the stats of our game between Muskingum and Capital. Passing yards, 257 for Muskingum, 145 for Capital. Rushing yards, 336 for Muskingum, 40 for Capital. Total offense, Muskingum 593 yards, Capital 185. Penalties, Muskingum 11 for 102, Capital 3 for 45. Possession time, Muskingum 39:03, Capital 20:57. Third down conversions, Muskingum 7 of 13, Capital 2 of 9. Fourth down conversions, Muskingum never had to go for it on fourth down, Capital 0 of 2. Red zone scores out of chances, Muskingum 5 of 7, Capital 1 of 3. Individual statistics, Brady Hahn had himself a day for Muskingum. The Muskies quarterback, 120 rushing yards and 1 rushing touchdown. Also threw for 230 yards and 2 scores, and even had a touchdown reception of 27 yards. Cameron Neer ran the ball for 92 yards and a score. Justin Bell, 6 carries for 63 yards. Jeffrey Curtis, 11 carries for 35 yards. Jalen Goodman had 4 catches for 74. Jacob Quinn, 2 catches for 33 yards. Tyler Heineke, 2 catches for 32 yards. And Jeffrey Curtis, 2 catches for 17 yards. For Capital, Evan Butler, 21 rushing yards on 6 carries. Justin McClellan, 7 carries for 20 yards. Jordan Giannatino, 3 catches for 12 yards. Noah Meeker, a carry for 3 yards. Justin McClellan, 11-21 through the air, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, 106 passing yards. Mitchell Mashock, 4 out of 8 through the air, 39 passing yards, 2 interceptions. Mike Smith, 5 catches for 50 yards. David Barnett, in his final game as a Crusader, 4 catches for 51 yards and a score. Evan Butler, 4 catches for 24 yards. Cam Lee, 2 catches for 20 yards. This was a game that Muskingum dominated from beginning to end, jumping out to as much of a 17-0 lead at one point. Again, it was Brady Hahn that was able to save the day for Muskingum. He had himself a great offensive day with 5 total touchdowns, 1 receiving, 1 rushing, and 3 throwing, as Muskingum is able to get the win today. With the win, Muskingum improves to 3-7 overall, 2-7 within conference play. Capital, meanwhile, drops to 0-10 and 0-9. They go winless here in 2019. Hopefully better days are ahead for the Capital football program, but 2019 will go down as a very, very tough season. Obviously, you would have liked to have gotten a win for the seniors here today, but that was not the case for the purple and white, as now head coach Chad Rogaszewski and his coaching staff head into the offseason trying to get this thing fixed, trying to get this thing back on track, and hopefully he can do that as we enter a new decade of Capital football. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us all season long for Capital football here on athletics.capital.edu. Stay tuned to athletics.capital.edu this winter as we bring you men's and women's basketball from the Capital Center. We will have that for you this winter as Damon Goodwin's crew, along with Dixie Jeffers' crew, hopefully they'll be able to turn in sterling 2019-2020 seasons. But in the meantime, thank you so much for joining us this season for Capital Football. We will see you in the year 2020. This is Charlie Danis saying one final time, the final score today from Promort Field at Bernlohr Stadium, it is Muskingum 51, Capital 14. So long and good night from Bexley, Ohio.